creating the broadcast, and we are live. So we have a little bit of a delay, so that I don't know. I'm not sure what we can do about that other than
It's
we're
to catch
filming.
all the curse words and have time to bleep them out.
Yeah. So I've got my screen open, and people can now see like the little zoom and whatnot. I hear your I I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? I must have on some other one of my massive sets of tabs. I must actually have our live broadcast right now. So I'm listening to it as we're
Yeah.
talking. It's funny.
I opened mine and I had to mute it as
I
well.
want to see
That is
see
so
what we
funny.
have here.
I'm gonna see where.
Yep, there it is.
Yep,
Hi
there we go. Found
Roosevelt,
it.
how are you doing?
All
Let's
right.
see
I'm gonna get into
who's here.
chat in a second, but holy cow, I have so many tabs open right now. It's completely absurd. Completely absurd.
Oh,
So,
25 watching.
all right.
It's not
Not
bad.
Yeah.
bad. Deleting like tons of tabs. I have all my t-shirt. I can give people updates on the shirts and other things like that, and then we can get into story time and all. So,
Cool,
let's
cool.
let's see. Can you guys see this?
You've got a few like a big screen up.
Here. Let me share. Let's see. All right.
Greetings.
Now,
Nice to see you all.
can we see? We're going to see our screens just like that. And hopefully, all right. Okay, so now I've got my chat. I am opening up the chat window. What's up, Peter Meaden? Good to see you. Donnie, Sev, Pure Fun Media, Anthony Diestello, Roosevelt Cooper, Sky Brewer. Lots of people saying hi. I cut the
Yes.
beard.
Hello.
In fact, about 30 minutes ago, I was like, you know what? I've had enough. And I showered, and I feel so much better. It's like I was planning on, saving the first shower I've had in a month for after the Kickstarter, but I just decided, what the hey, I
Gotta
might as
do it
well
now.
shower
Do it as a
like a normal
celebration.
human. Yeah,
Celebration.
that's right. So, I figured we could probably go over some of the shenanigans going on here. I have the shirt bundle, all these surveys that I've been giving people. I haven't really been updating people on the results, but this is like the latest T-shirt survey, and it. I guess Adam is louder than me. Maybe now I'm louder because my face is closer to the microphone. I'm not sure. So the Courage Gold on Heather Military Green dominated. So which is a beautiful, beautiful color. So if we look at the questions, let's see.
Am I quieter now?
A little bit. It's not very
That
large, but this is the one that
can turn my
won.
gain down a little bit.
In fact, you know what I can do? I can pull. All right, here's
Hey
the
Chaz, am I
Vikings
still
folder.
loud?
You sound good to me.
Sound
Let's
okay?
see.
All right.
I'm gonna get into shirts, Deliverance shirts. If you guys see some spoilers here, then it's your own fault for watching this. So, let's see. Let's get into round 2 of our T-shirts, and I can increase the size just so that people can see what we're looking at. So this is the T-shirt that we're definitely printing. It is pretty much dominantly awesome over all the other shirts. So if I were to go to responses and then shrink this, you can see the Courage Gold on Heather Military Green one. We also have the Pray and Slay yellow on Heather Charcoal Black. Oh, it says I'm really quiet. Hang on, I think I can fix that. Let me pull open Zoom. Actually, let me stop my screen share real quick. Open up my settings. And then I can increase my audio volume. All right, guys. How's this?
That sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Is this even better, or is this too loud?
It's a little loud.
Okay. Oh, you know what I can do? I'm going to actually lower this back down to a normal level. And then I'm going to increase my levels in OBS. So now people should be able to hear me a little bit more. Test. Is this too loud for those listening? Okay. Just let me know what the thing that I just did. Okay. I can increase it a little bit more if we need to. But okay, excellent. All right. So let me get back into the shenanigans here. And so we've got the Courage Gold on Heather Military Green wins. The Pray and Slay yellow on Heather Charcoal Black. This one wins, even though it's just slightly ahead of the others. Let me show you guys. I want to say this one, this first response. So T-shirt voting, we had Pray and Slay Black win here too. So, and interestingly enough, the only 3 that were anywhere near close were the Free with the blue icon on the green shirt, the Intercessor, It's Dangerous to Go Alone, and the Courage shirt, which was.
Are you wanting to be sharing your screen, Andrew?
Yeah.
I don't think you're sharing.
Oh,
At least I can't see it.
I'm sorry. I am in
No.
the YouTube.
In YouTube, you are? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
So sorry. We're
obviously noobs.
Yeah. So let's see if I shared my screen in this way. Screen 2. There we go. Now I can see. Everyone can see us, and we can see all the things.
Awesome.
Now we know what you're talking about.
So the Pray and Slay Black won here, and then we had Free, the blue on the blue icon on green, and then the Intercessor, It's Dangerous to Go Alone, and then the red Courage shirt. We did this weird red Courage shirt that was. Let me see. I'm gonna actually pull these. Move us into a random spot. This was the shirt that we did. That was like just last second on autumn yellow or orange. Let's just throw this together, and it actually got the surprising number of votes. And this shirt, I was very upset at our community for not grabbing. I will probably make this for myself to troll everyone. But I just really
we'll get to wear it to conventions.
Yeah, definitely. We might even say Michael passed the popcorn, or like the fruits of the spirit, and have it be popcorn. I don't know. So, but yeah, so so this was the blue icon. The free action icon has become really, really popular. It's actually, the microphone is not right on my chin. It is about an inch away. So, but yeah, so this one was really popular. And then the Pray and Slay is one that it looks like we're going to be producing. It's weird because it almost looks brown here, but if I change it, this is like a military green, like a very dark green. You can see it's an even darker green than the Courage. Courage is almost more gray, but then the Pray and Slay Black, even though to me it looks brown, it's actually a nice heathered black, so that if you have dandruff, nobody will see, and so it looks like the Courage shirt is a definite win. The Pray and Slay is a definite win. The third question, the question is like, is it this one or the Intercessor? We went full on, Legend of Zelda Intercessor. It's dangerous to go alone with a sword. For anybody that knows the Legend of Zelda, that was like in the very first Nintendo game, it was the way that you received your first sword. Some old man in a cave randomly says, "It's dangerous to go alone. Take this with you," and he gives you your sword. So I just thought this was like so appropriate for every solo player that plays our game. But then the free action icon is just a really cool message. The question that I have is, between these two shirts, it seems like people didn't like this being on such a light colored green. And so what I had, let me see, that's not what I'm looking for. There are versions of the shirt that I have in a darker green, and I don't think that I have those here, but I'll have to find those at some other point. I'll stop screen sharing and find them and whatnot. But yeah, really it's the between these two shirts, like the Intercessor and the free icon, like alternate color, are the last two. And so let's get back to this thing right here, the sweatshirts. So let me get into sweatshirts and show you how much this dominated. So I believe that's sweatshirt voting round 2. Okay. All right, sorry. Okay, so the courage with the sleeve won the first go, but the pray and slay with the sleeve called, when I say sleeve, I mean Deliverance alongside the on the actual sleeve, was pretty close. And so this was originally an autumn color. This was actually the shirt that the sweatshirt that won. And so the round 2 was like, all right. And then there was I definitely wouldn't buy a sweatshirt. Look at the ratio right here. And so the next sweatshirt, let's see. Look at the difference. Look at how few people said that they wouldn't buy a sweatshirt when I changed the color to green. There were more people that wanted the courage in the dark green.
Wow.
There were, I did give the people the option to say, can we go back to the cleaner version, without a Bible verse, because I got, it's interesting. Only one guy sent me an email. It was like, the reason I like these Deliverance t-shirts is because it's not only that I can celebrate the Deliverance fandom, but it's also that I can actually show my faith on these shirts. So that if you don't understand what these shirts are, they're meaningful. And originally we had just the courage icon. And, it was very interesting because when I changed it to a Bible verse, there were a lot fewer people that said they wouldn't buy it, which to me meant that, if it was the right sweatshirt, they would, and so, yeah, so it looks like the dark green sweatshirt with the courage icon is going to win with the Bible verse on the outside. We're still going to toy around with it a little bit to see if we can make it, we're toying around with the idea of like we did the inside of the courage icon. We are going to try to blend the letters on the outside of the graphic, but I'm sorry, on the inside of the graphic, just on the edge. We'll see how that works. We'll do kind of like a reverse, the words will be in like a dark green color, So that's kind of where we're at as far as the courage, or the sweatshirts and t-shirts. So there you go. You guys want to see the angel talents where we're at there?
Let's take a look.
I'm curious, very curious. All right, so we had 177 submissions. First of all, it was awesome. And then Christina's the least popular. She only got 10 talent submissions, along with Sardius got 10. But
everyone received some talents.
Yeah, everyone received at least 10 talents. Everyone, and in fact, we have you can see you design a Michael talent. Let's see, where's Michael? He had so first of all, Azrael was the most popular, followed by Michael and the Intercessor. Was really cool. A lot of people love those. Azrael is just starting to become everybody's favorite character. So, but yeah, then design a Michael talent. You know what I could do? I could be like every Twitch streamer ever and put the chat like this. Okay.
Whoa.
That's awesome. So, yeah, so we have
if they send us money, will it like pop up on the bottom of the screen? Like so and so donated $25.
I'm actually not so sophisticated.
I know.
Look, Mom.
We'll have to figure that out for next time.
Someone says you're loud. Is it
me or Andrew?
You, I think. You're someone called you that one guy.
That one guy.
So, so Michael was pretty balanced. We had.
Am I still loud?
No, actually.
Am I okay now?
Yeah, I think you are.
Everything okay? All right.
So, so we had level 1, 2s, and 3s, and we have the actual skills, and whoever, if people wanted to get credited for their skills, Zalum added 7 talents for Michael, which is awesome because it makes so much sense. Mysterious Illumination. So these are all actually pulled into a spreadsheet for us, so I don't have to look at them like this. But yeah, so we have a lot of talents. We've got Azrael, tons of level 2 talents. I guess people wanted more utility on him overall. Like that was kind of what I encourage people to do, is like level 2 is more like utility or a combo builder, changes the angel's functionality. Level 1 is like a quick access, low power, useful early, tiny upgrade that helps you. And then level 3 is like a big finisher or powerful passive, so I'm really excited to check those out. We can look at these if you want. Level 2s were really popular with Shula, level 2s and 3s. And I think that sometimes people are just not quite sure where to place their talent. People will do like a level 3 talent that's weak and a level 2 talent that's way too strong and so on, So we'll find the right things for them. Let's see. So Heather Phelps gave me 3 talents for Shula. So she's number 1 there. Let's see. Miko, very few level 1s. Everyone thinks her level 1s are good. But yeah, 2s and 3s. She really does kind of need big finishers. So, John Powell and Paul Goodrich top there. So let's see. Sardius is, where are we at? I don't know. I guess each person designed 1 talent for Sardius. So cool. Uriel, very, very popular level 2s. Northern Presuvius did 4 there. It's kind of awesome. But yeah, we got Gabriel is so people keep telling me, what do you guys think? People keep telling me Gabriel's level 3s are weak. I'm like, you guys don't understand, It's like, he's just so overpowered. I think any level 3 that you get is strong. In fact, I actually think one of the strongest talents in the game is one that nobody uses called Shield Wall. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Why is Gabriel so strong?
Oh man.
Someone said Andrew cannot be heard on a cell phone. So it's going up. My mic's going up a little bit more.
I think one of the biggest reasons why Gabriel is so strong is his prayer utility. Like he has access to every single prayer card in the deck, basically as a skill. And to have that kind of utility to basically have a new attack or a new answer to something almost no matter what is very powerful.
Yeah.
I think him being able to kind of choose when those prayer cards actuate and how those come into play really leads him to be a powerful angel, which by is something that I've learned from D&D is that the more choices you have, the weaker your choices have to be. And so if you can do 30 things because your prayer deck is constantly being shuffled, you're gonna have a level 1 damage stab.
Yeah. I think
I agree. It's the prayer deck.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever sought out an extra wisdom for Gabriel. It's like, oh, his stab is weak. It's like, I think I might have used it once or twice in a game. Like if I'm soloing and I really need that shield and, or that 1 extra damage or something, maybe I'll do that. But yeah, he's just, when you have the choice to use the pray action as Gabriel versus his stab, it's almost like he has 1 less skill, than every other character. And you get all those choices, in his prayer cards, like you were saying. And actually, we upgraded the Intercessor. We changed the Intercessor, and the Intercessor is like so strong right now. And the reason for that is because the Intercessor is, we gave players the ability to use the Intercessor's action tokens to spend on the player's prayer cards, which is a new thing that we have been doing. But then in addition to that, we combined the intercede and encourage actions into a single action.
Into a single action.
Yeah, so now you get to move a saint, you get to draw a prayer card, and you get to test to cast down a dark, basically a pray test, cast down a darkness or affliction. And this guy is so strong right now. Like, and then we changed the passive to give you 3 bonus health. Just straight up, here's 3 health for being a good angel. And
there's been a common sentiment in the Discord that a lot of people feel that he's a little too overpowered. What do you think about that?
I agree wholeheartedly, actually. I think that where the Intercessor shines is, so if we were to eliminate the bonus health, I think that the overpowered feeling would go away, but I don't think that that's the right move. There are a few little knobs that we kind of turned up too much that we could dial back just a little bit, and then we could change the way he gains health. So like the original reason that I wanted players to have bonus health was because a lot of the time you can heal up, but as a solo player, you're going to take, let's say, 9 damage in a round at the very end of the game, and sometimes that's just too much, compared to the amount of health that you can heal. And so to have that little extra health could be the difference maker between, victory and defeat. And what I was thinking about was giving players the ability to, when you level up as an angel.
Andrew, I think you're still really quiet.
Oh, is that right?
apparently. Yeah, I think if you're probably going to have to get right up on the mic there. So
okay,
yeah.
hang on. All right, actually, I can fix this. Give me 1 second. I'll stop share. Again, I'll go back into the settings here. And all right, guys, this is the best I can do. I can jam up the microphone a little bit more, but
I think I think the issue is the cell phone.
Okay.
The cell phone listeners are having a hard time, and I think it's because there's none at the bottom end.
Yeah, got it.
I think this should be good.
Okay, good. I hope that it's enough.
All right. Says it's good.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you guys listening to your feedback. So, but yeah, so the solo intercessor. In fact, I can actually pull that guy open and we can look at him. Deliverance.
I remember working on.
Wait a second. I better stop my share. I don't want to give away anything here.
Too much sensitive information.
Yeah, seriously. There are definitely. I'm pulling open all the expansion angels that we had, and there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 folders in this angels file that I do not want people seeing. So let's see.
I think they're saying they can still see it. You stopped it on YouTube.
Oh, really? That's hilarious. Well, shoot.
Or on us. You stopped it on us, not on YouTube.
That's so funny. I just want to let you guys know I am kind of noob. So be it. Have fun. All right, let's see. Okay. Let me pull that chat back up. Where did I put the chat? Where are you, OBS? Looking for, there it is. All right. That is so funny. I'm like, now I'm going to check my bank account now that nobody can see my password.
I remember that we tweaked the Intercessor quite a bit before the original print, because he was too weak, and we increased some of his talents and other things. So this is kind of a second upgrade on top of that to make it more powerful.
Yep. Yeah. So what did we do originally? So I think we originally, before we released the first game, we added this consecrate as a free action to give players a choice of in this way, it was kind of our way of giving players the ability to gain extra health when playing solo. You could gain a shield or a courage. The problem with that generally is that if you're a regular angel, you have the ability to gain 2 courage a round. And so we expect that you'll use exhort every time to use one of your angel's skills, that you can gain a courage there. But then there's no other way as the intercessor to gain a courage. So this is immediately weaker than a second angel. And so we thought, okay, well, you're going to have to do some things to offset the courage that you wouldn't gain if you chose a shield. So part of that is gaining the shield. And then the other action is to move a saint, draw a prayer card, or test. And overall, I think that this actual card is why the intercessor felt weaker than a second angel, because 1 courage is worth more than 1 shield. And, just by far.
Unless you're playing Sardius or Taolu.
Yeah. Yeah, then it's about the same.
I would very rarely use intercede. In very few circumstances would I use that when I was playing with the intercessor.
Yeah.
In the earlier days.
Yeah, I think that intercede, sometimes the problem with this one is that it feels like a wasted turn. It's like, oh, I failed. Well, I completely wasted and got no benefit. I mean, I guess one thing that would have been a simple way to fix it is gain a courage and then test 7+. It's just at least you get something, right? So
yeah, that's true.
It's a little bit of a benefit. So then we switched over to this new guy because it was like everyone was saying this guy's weak. One thing I always saw solo players say is, oh, I play 2-handed. And because one angel's just weaker. It's like, man. So we went a little bit on the strong side here. In fact, I actually nerfed it, but because Nate was creating the board game arena mod, I originally gave him the one with 3 health, and I originally gave so Rolling Solo did a video for showcasing our solo, and he had the version with 3 health on it. And I was like, I just want it to be the same. So we'll nerf it later. I know it's too strong, but we'll figure it out. So I think what we'll probably end up doing, because this guy's way too strong, as is that encourage is where some of his overpowered feeling comes from. Encourage, I'm thinking, is going to be, you don't start with any additional health, but when you level up, you're going to be able to choose to gain a talent, your lowest level unrevealed talent, just like before. So you draft 2 and then pick 1, or as in a campaign, you would gain that level. But then we'll give players a special way to continue leveling the Intercessor through this encourage passive, which is like when you level, you get to either choose talents or gain 1 maximum health. So that way, after you level up 3 times, you would then be able to gain 3 health.
Yeah, it would make up for the lack of treasures.
Yeah,
right.
Because that was definitely another sentiment that I heard a lot from people, is that the Intercessor is 3, aside from Intercede being a wasted turn and a weaker angel, you get 5 less level ups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think also that when you gain the health, I'm seeing just as a game developer, I'm seeing it's kind of a problem where you gain 3 health right off the bat, which is so strong because you can just continue attacking for longer. In the first battle, you don't have to, your positioning is it's a lot more forgiving when you have, a Taolu when you have 13 health and reduced damage right off the bat for being a good solo angel. So if we change this to 0, but you can level up, kind of scale, then I think that it allows you to scale into the end of the game, which is where solo players felt weak, and it doesn't make you feel super overpowered like early on. So if you wanted to go super strong, high health, you can just level up your HP first and then you can go for talents. But there's, I think, a meaningful trade-off there,
Yeah.
So, and so anyway, I know soloists, it's a welcome change for them. And so
I think another big improvement with the Intercessor, and this was kind of a 1.5 improvement, where we were allowing the prayer cards, the Intercessor to use the prayer cards before we rolled out this new version anyway, and that really improved things. And having that kind of codified or whatever into the new
extra
new
utility
Intercessor is really good.
Yep. So if you guys have game development questions, happy to answer. So Daniel Smyrtle asked, would it be capped at a certain amount of extra HP, like 5, because of how normal angels level? It will be capped at a certain amount of health. I'm thinking that 3 is a solid amount to gain as a solo player. We'll definitely play around with that. So encourage. Sev asked, will it also technically heal for +3 as well? Yes. So whenever you gain a health, it adds. So the way that in Deliverance, the way that you're supposed to track damage is the amount of damage taken is what you're tracking. So that when you have, let's say, 15 maximum health and you've taken 5 damage, you would have still 15 health, which means that you will have to take 10 damage more in order to be defeated. But then if you gain a level and you get a Heavenly Treasure, which adds another one, you have 16 maximum health, but only 5 damage. So effectively, you would have to take 11 damage now in order to be defeated. If you were to do it the other way, where it's like I had 15 health and now I only have 10, and you gain 1 to your maximum health, in Deliverance, you should actually heal 1 damage if you're tracking health that way. So sometimes, it can feel sad. David asked, is that 3 health just once? You would gain in the way that we're developing it, you would gain 1 health at a time as your level up. So you
like
would
1 max health.
yeah, 1 max health per level up to a maximum of 3. So the in essence, the Intercessor will be able to level up to 6 times, which is still weaker than an angel, a normal angel that gets to level up 8. Although your angel gets to level up 8. And one of the things about the Intercessor that makes it really strong is this exhort action uses your angel's skills. So it's it's deceiving because exhort causes you to leverage your angel's stats. So all your angel's heavenly treasures, all your angel's talents, your angel's like 8 level ups actually get used in this exhort ability. So even though you're only leveling 6 times on the Intercessor, you are actually it's deceivingly strong because of this exhort action. So
a trade-off for that real quick is exhort using that, like if you have an angel that will use combo actions, like action, free action, free action, free action combo or something like that, you're not going to be able to do that with exhort. You'll only be able to use that 1 action blast, so that's kind of a little bit of a trade-off.
Right. Yeah. So you as Uriel, you're only going to be able to use your massive crucible turn like on your character's turn. So makes sense. This Intercessor needs to build Uriel's courage, for example, before going for it. So yeah. So let's see. Let's get back. Where are we at? Nice. All right. So Taolu at 15. Yeah, the Intercessor, a lot of level 3s. I think one of the things that I liked about the Intercessor are the talents that you discard. I really like the talents that you discard. And because it just allows you to, in essence, level again, which is one of the kind of hidden strengths of the Intercessor, is that there are a lot of talents that you discard that allow you to gain the benefit of another level, which is another reason that I think it's probably reasonable that we would only have the Intercessor level 6 times, because the strategy part of it is in discarding your talent at the right time. Yeah, and yes, that's an excellent question. Sev asked, is a new Intercessor card coming out with the Council of the Fallen? Yes, we are including the new Intercessor card in the upgrade kit without any additional cost to backers. So if you're buying a base game, you'll have the 2nd edition, which will come with the Intercessor that's been changed. The upgrade kit will help everybody who has a 1st edition game get their, you'll be able to upgrade that way. And so we're definitely losing money on the upgrade kit. Cole Siebert is a solo player. I see.
While we're
briefly,
on this, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, just real quick, I'll just say we're at 477,513 on Kickstarter right now. 83 minutes to go.
Oh, snap.
And two away from 3,200.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. Really incredible. Just that I don't know, it just seemed like we had this crazy rally. Hard to
really want to hear the whistle track.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I've been thinking about what would I whistle? That's so funny. The whistle track. What would I whistle? And 477.5. Snap.
If you're asking opinions, I think it would be really cool if you did the Lord Bless Thee whistled in the style of the Puss in Boots 2 Whistle of Death for Azrael.
Yeah.
That would be I think that would be really cool if it was like his calling card as he's going to reap the demons. You just hear the Azrael whistling Lord Bless Thee. Yeah. That would be really cool in my opinion.
That would be awesome. Do you have an opinion, Adam?
Sev just said, never going to give you up.
That'd be so good. You can Rickroll people with me.
That would be the Rickroll. That would be cool.
Man. Maybe I'll do that. So I've been thinking about this raid boss, right? And so some of the pieces of the raid boss were just really, really fun. And one of my favorite pieces about the raid boss encounter that I got to run was kind of trolling everyone. I got to I got to annoy and frustrate and troll people because I was the bad guy. So I got to act bad, you know. And one of my favorite things was that I got to silence a table. So there was these guys were doing such a great job, and I turned and I'm like, it's an event. You guys can't talk, you know? You guys can't talk this whole round. And if you do, if I hear anything, even a sound, you take a damage, you know? And so they like creaked a chair. I'm like, oh, 1 damage, you know? And I heard a whisper. I was like, 1 damage, you know? And they just immediately stopped talking and just started tapping away on their phones and texting each other about what they would do. And as soon as I walked away, they would like have one person be like a lookout, like a meerkat on top of the hill looking out. Awesome. And the other guys would be like, okay, all right, do this, do that. And it was so funny. But I loved the idea of trolling people, and making people whistle or they take damage would be really funny. So you have to whistle, you have 5 seconds to whistle or you take damage. And like when the spotlight is put on you, it's really hard to whistle, you know? So, and then some people just can't, so they take damage, you know? But that would be really funny. A very funny thing to do in the, you know, Council of the Fallen, the scenario book. So I've been kind of thinking about how to, you know, adjust that encounter so that it feels like other people can, you know, can actually run it. So
Sev says a moment of silence for all the people who never learned to whistle. It would be silent anyways because they can't whistle.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I find that raid boss encounter is almost as much a party game as it is a like an actual whistling thing, you know? So
you turn Deliverance into a even more social game.
Yeah.
How'd you do that one?
Yeah, dude, it's been something I've been thinking about for such a long time too, you know. I just thought, oh, hey, there's Nate.
Nate, hello.
Nate.
Greetings.
All right. You're a bit loud on my end. How does the audience think Nate sounds?
Let me talk softer. Normally, I'm not told that I talk too loud.
Yeah.
No, Roosevelt. We actually had. Oh, I'll let Andrew answer, but I know they had multiple copies at the convention.
Yeah. You know, actually, I learned that it's really, really hard to have multiple copies of a game that, you know. So like when we were at Origins, and Nate was there and Adam was too. We used 2 copies of our Council of Fallen, and those copies kind of got mixed up toward the end of the day, you know, or toward the end of the convention, where, you know, we just had to, oh, I need a Christine, oh, I need an Azrael, and it's sometimes you just have to get those things really quick. It's like, I don't know where the talents are for my character, and so you grab them from the other box. When you mix up 2 boxes, it took me probably like 6 hours to disentangle them. It would have been better if I just had a room that was entirely empty and I could set each thing like in its own corner. It took a really long time. And so what I learned for the Strong Tower Con, which we ran the raid, was that we need to have self-contained games. Like we can't be switching. Like I had this idea that I wanted it to be social, you know, so I thought maybe I'll make players get up and move and switch tables, you know. So it's like if a Sardius player is not next to a Michael player, by the end of next round you are defeated, or they are both all Michaels and all Sardiuses are defeated or something. But that would necessitate that I made a Michael player get up or Sardius get up and switch seats and whatnot. And I thought, you know, for the first game, actually Dan Maynard, our artist, who can't be on this call right now, he said, you know, just make it simple at first. Don't like overcomplicate things. Definitely don't make people get up and move and whatnot. It'll just get too complex. I'm really, really glad for that, because it would have just been really hard. So to finally answer your question, Roosevelt, each table needs its own copy of Deliverance. So you can play up to 5 in Deliverance at a time. And so each table needs to have, you know, its own copy of the game. So what I made people do, 3,200 backers, by the way. Hooray, 3,200. 47, 7, 70, 97. 477-797. It's like Jenny Craig's number.
At 77
4777.
minutes.
We got a question from Chris Alberti. He wants to know how we're going to differentiate cards from the expansion. We haven't exactly decided what to do yet. There'll be some kind of a symbol or distinguishing mark to let you know what goes where. Yeah. So we'll put a symbol on most of the cards that are, like we might do the character boards, just to keep it consistent as well, even though, everybody would know Damascus is from this game or from the expansion or whatever, right? But yeah, we definitely want to add a little icon on all the cards in a very common spot, maybe like the lower left corner, so that players would be able to separate them if they wanted to. So hey, Love Thy Nerd is in the chat. Oh.
One idea on the card symbols, like Terraforming Mars has tons of cards and the symbols on them, and they're all in the lower left. If you do something like that, put it on an opposite area, so if it's flipped upside down and people are flipping through it quick, they always have to look in the same spot.
Yep.
So lower left and upper right. So if it's 180'd, it's still the lower left.
Yeah. I think as long as players don't see it as like Marvel Champions, there are these little icons in the lower right. Actually, I think it's with Marvel Champions that indicate a boss could deal extra damage or use a special attack or something like that. And so those are actually really small, an example of great graphic design in a game. But it's kind of funny. Marvel Champions, it actually uses those things. So I think players would look at these and be like, oh, I don't know. So, what does that mean? What does that symbol mean? So, but yeah, we definitely want to do that. So Drake, the duelist, I like to play all the angels on a side myself. You might say I'm beside myself, but he's a dad. That guy's a dad for sure. So I guess, Roosevelt, the raid encounter works with, as long as each group brings its own game, technically you can have one copy of the game and one person can control the raid boss, and then one group of 5 or 4 or 5 is what I would recommend can actually play the game. But in theory, you can play with less than that. The one thing that makes it hard would be like the angel hit list. So the way that it works in with the angel hit list is like you have dice that you use to see which angel you hate this round. And so there's like 3 different tables, and you have a 1 through a 6. You roll 3 6-sided dice, and you get to choose based on what the results of those 3 dice are. You get to apply each dice to a particular table. So, okay, I got a 3 with this first dice. I'm applying that to the top table, which means Miko is in the 3rd position. All Miko players are on my hit list now. And so at lower player counts, if there's no Miko player in the game, then obviously the raid boss isn't going to choose, apply the 3 to the first thing with Miko in it. But the more variety there will be if there are more players and that kind of thing. So I'm thinking about how I can modify this to work for a lower player count. So we definitely want to do that. Mike James asked, will the campaign bosses and demons be available to purchase on placards to be used in skirmish mode? We haven't planned on that. The reason that so first of all, the reason that we were able to do all of those cool, unique bosses in skirmish mode was specifically because we could print them inside the campaign book. One of the challenges is just the extra components. Eventually, it just gets so expensive. And so that's one way that we found we could add a lot more value in gameplay without actually having to add more cost. And so it ends up being something that we are not planning on doing at the moment. However, we kind of have a little bit of a blend. So in the campaign, the first campaign, you actually have a box that you open that adds content to the game that is some of what it's on like a cardboard card and whatnot, and it adds content. In this next campaign, Council of the Fallen, we have 5 boxes and an envelope. So that will all add replayable content. So 3,202 backers, almost 478,000. 71 minutes to go. Oh, lots of 7s all over the place. So, yeah. Dave Dupuy said, I'm working on getting custom dice for each angel. That's kind of awesome. So, all right. So let's kind of transition into away from some game development. Let's talk about maybe some stories
from game development.
So let's talk about stories. What is a memorable moment that you guys had working on Deliverance? Doesn't have to be like the most amazing thing, you know.
Well,
someone else go first.
It's been just a complete walk with God for me. Because the way that I even got Andrew's attention in the first place was 100% God siding. And then it's such a big project to bring. I'm doing the Board Game Arena adaptation for all of you listening in who may not know. And it is quite complex with 450 plus cards and all of the angels and the demons with their separate actions, multiple actions on those. And they're all unique actions. And so it's just been constant prayer of what aspect do I tackle next?
Yep.
Sorting it all out and architecting it so that it'll work with what's going on and what I'm doing at the moment, as well as make it so it will expand into the future.
Yeah, that is a big project. It's like it's absurd how large Deliverance was. And actually I kind of decided, I remember getting 2 quotes, one from you and then one from a French developer, that the French developer was like, it'll be $15,000. And that seemed really low for a development like this. And I was like, well, I could pay just a little bit of money, but I think the game, just based on what I understand about development and how complex I think our game is, it is like much more complicated than that, you know? And I just felt like this guy is going to do a really bad job. And then there was your quote, and yours was much higher, like more than twice as high. I'm like, well, he's probably legit. Like this guy here, you know, I didn't know you at the time, but I'm just thinking to myself, I was like, this guy's probably completely legit, but I'm just a little afraid that it's going to cost more than that, you know, like what if it just costs double? And I felt like,
well, yeah. And that quote too, it came with roadmap and MVP of like only 50 prayer cards, 5 angels, 2 I think we did 3 bosses.
Yep. Yeah, you did a really good job quoting it out, by the way. In fact, you ended up, so originally I was like, oh no, let's not do it. And then you were in a weird pickle of a situation. Like you were working for a company that got embezzled from like some accountant, stole like $10 million from the company and left, and they didn't have money to pay you. Right? It was like, and then
it was less than that, but yeah, essentially I took all the working capital.
And so then they were like, hey, we can't afford to pay you. Can you keep working? We'll try to figure this out through litigation and all that stuff. Like, but then when I told you that I couldn't, I wasn't planning on moving forward, you came and kind of counter offered and you were like, hey, I'll work for less than normal. If I can do this. And then what I remember actually is, you know, I prayed about it. We opened up the Bible. My wife and I opened up the Bible together, and just some words jumped off the page. That's like, the worker is worthy of his wages. And I had the opportunity, in essence, I kind of had the opportunity to take advantage of you because you were in a desperate situation that I didn't fully understand. And God understood it. And he was just like, no, you have to pay Nate what he asked for. It's like, okay, God, you you said that we would have enough money. Like, dude, look at this, $478,000 almost. This is crazy, you know. And you know, God said, do it, and He provided the money. You know, He's providing right now, and it's just really cool. You know, it's really cool. And you worked faster than expected, and you know, it's been a real blessing having you on board. And not only that, but like your brain, when you die, you have to donate your brain to science. It's like you're so gifted. It's like the gifted programmer, you know. So
well, thank you.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, from seeing everybody in the Discord server always saying like, oh, here's what I've done on BGA, and this is the next thing I'm doing, and this is so much fun to do it. Like, you being a part of a team to get that incorporated into the Deliverance community has been amazing. Like, it is so cool to see people just rally around this and just love what Andrew is doing, but what you're doing through the game, and it's really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really awesome project to be on. You know, it's I felt God calling me to be making this game, which is why I kind of lowballed Andrew too. And it's like, let's also, you know, because it's like, I know God's going to provide for me. So I didn't mind about that as well. And shortly before my company got embezzled, you know, it's like, this is a complete God story. Because shortly before they got embezzled, I was starting to run out of billable work, so I couldn't work 100 hours a week anymore. So it's like 40 hours a week. What am I going to do with the rest of my time? And I thought, I know, I'll start doing board game arena development. And just around when I got in and set up for all of that and said, okay, this is something that I can do pretty easily. And looking around, I thought of a couple games that I wanted to implement, but I couldn't find the licenses for it. And then the whole kerfuffle happened. And then I saw, it's like, oh, there's people willing to pay people to put stuff on Board Game Arena, and who's looking for a developer. Andrew was the last person to post it. It's like, this is the exact kind of game that I've always been looking to work on for video games as well. I've been trained as a video game software developer. You know, I've just been working web development, and so BGA is the cross section between those two, which is part of why I went towards it.
Yep,
that's so cool.
You know,
it's like I want to make games that appeal to a secular audience but have latent Christianity, as C.S. Lewis says. It's like Deliverance was perfect.
A really small list. I think there's only a few games on that list to
count it on one hand.
Yeah, exactly. Why it's like, I saw this as a board game. I'm like, oh, that one's mine. Thanks, God.
Isn't it crazy? Like the God will give you these ideas, and it's like, I would like to be an underwater basket weaver, and it's like, oh, we have a job opening actually. You know, it's like the craziest things. If God puts it in your heart, He's gonna make a way, right? So the tough part sometimes is understanding or discerning if it's God telling you something, or if it's last night's pizza. You know, if you're like, I feel like, you know, and that might not be God at all. It's kind of tough to discern. But I'll say, you know, what I always think with people is like, when they do a really good job, you know, because I have a small business with 8 employees on one side, and then Deliverance, and we have, you know, probably 8 to 10 contractors that are working on Deliverance. I think, wow, this person did a really great job. I need to find a way to keep them around. You know, it's like, how can I keep them around? And, you know, we're talking about the Deliverance video game and everything with Chris Cantero. You know, we've been working on that for a while and thinking about it. And it's like, how can I get Nate on that project? You know, it's like, I need to keep Nate. He's just too good, you know? So yeah, we could talk about the video game a little bit, but it's really far down the road. It's not, we actually haven't like started full bore working on it yet. Our goal to start really hitting the ground running with development is like March of next year. So we're, you know, like 5 months away from that. But we'll see, you know, we'll see.
It's good for me to know the timeline.
Yeah. By the way, Nate, So
Let me break in here real
yeah.
quick and say that we're an hour to go, 61 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
And somebody mentioned, let's see, where was it?
Someone asked for
Daniel
a
Smurtle.
RPG.
Daniel Smurtle said maybe we'll get that 7th Archangel investor before the Kickstarter ends. I am really curious if we will get that last Archangel investor. In fact, let me pull this. Let me see. How can I?
I've been debating whether to be Archangel investor myself because
Likewise.
I am kind of investing in myself at this point with it. And having an advanced reviewer's copy would probably be good for getting the BGA up to date right at release time.
Do it. Do it. You know, so that's awesome. Yeah. If I mean, we're at $478,385. We're getting close, but yeah, I don't know. You know, we have that 7th slot open. I'd love it to be filled. That'd be amazing. I do have a couple of reviewer games that arrived back here, so I'm ready to send those out and pretty excited about that overall. But yeah, we have reached the final hour. We are in the last hour.
Last 60 minutes. Here we go.
We just
Do you
need
have
to
a
raise
final stretch goal if it reaches that 480?
Yeah. It's a whistle track.
The super
No,
final.
that one might be reached.
Yeah.
Do you have another one past that, or do you just want to say
I
good
just-
campaign, everybody?
I didn't have one beyond 465, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna make Daniel Davis, our composer, do this if we reach 480. We'll just see, you know. So yeah. Oh, I have a knock on the door. I have guests. I'll be right back.
Yes.
So,
Camo.
Adam, Chaz, you guys want to
Camo.
share your crazy working on Deliverance stories?
Come on in.
Man.
Sure. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go, Chad?
You can go first.
Cool.
Yeah, Andrew's family.
Yes, come on.
Hello.
Yeah, my wife.
Let's hear from them first.
Yes, let's hear from them.
I'm gonna have
Let's
to
hear
take
from
Pesh.
them.
You won.
As well.
There you go, Pesh. You won. And we're missing two.
He gets one.
We had to put two to bed.
We're missing all the boys.
Yeah.
Except for me. I'm a boy. So.
All right,
yeah.
girls.
So carry on. You guys.
Oh, I was gonna let you guys talk.
Oh no,
No,
we're
we're
doing all the
here to
talking
listen.
without even
Just wait.
talking.
We're-
Okay. Well, so for me, the weirdest, I think, story I have working on Deliverance is how I came into the project originally. And this was about 7 years ago when I was on my way out of I was doing some freelance graphic design, and I was looking for work, and I was like, well, I'm going to stop doing this. I don't want to do this anymore. It's not working out the way I wanted to. And so back in those days, I don't know if people still do this, but on Board Game Geek, there was a graphic design artist forum. People would have their basically their post that they would update and looking for work now available, and all that. And so I was just going to go in and get rid of that. I was like logging into, I checked it in a month or two. So I went in to delete that, and I saw that I had a notification. And this was, and I checked around the time, it would have been around October of 2017 or so. And I looked at the notification, and it was from this guy, Low and High, who was talking about he's wanting to design some game and do this and that. And, he's like, you don't have to be a Christian, but if you're a Christian, this might be a project you'd like to work on. Like, well, okay, Lord, I'll wait. I'll just reach out to this guy and see what this is all about. Because a Christian games, nothing's going to happen with that. So I responded to the email, and fast forward about 7 years, and here we are. There's a lot happened within that time period, but yeah, that's the weirdest story. So I think that was a God thing. It took me some time to decide whether or not I should do it, and I've worked on the project in one way or another. Obviously, I'm not the graphic designer anymore, but I've worked on it in one way or another for 7 years, and it's been a pretty amazing experience. You know, a lot of growth, like spiritual growth and stuff. And so, yeah, that's my story.
That's awesome. What about you,
Well,
Chaz?
I'll share something that I think is really cool about Deliverance first, and then I'll share, I guess we're all sharing our origin stories. But um
All right.
the thing that I really love about Deliverance, and you've said this before, Andrew, is that this isn't your game. This is God's game. You know, you're uncovering facets of the game as we go along, as we design. I mean, there have been multiple nights, multiple times. You're an hour behind me, so like you call me at like 8 o'clock after the kids are down. It's like 9 o'clock my time, and I'm like unwinding with like a cup of tea, and you're like, Chaz, this idea, like we need to try to get this design, like this is so cool, and I want to make sure that this is in. Like I feel like the Lord is showing me this really cool prayer card or this really cool darkness card, and it's just this really awesome moment where it's just, yeah, you're discovering God's game. Like we're all discovering God's game, and I don't mean that in like a facetious way. It's like, oh, trying to make this super spiritual. It literally is moments where like you're living your life and something happens. You know, someone steals our designer's laptop. Somebody comes in and says a hurtful word to you or gives you a word of encouragement. You're like, that would make a really cool darkness card. That'd make a really cool prayer card. You're in your silent moment, you're reading, and you just hear a verse just speak to you, and you're like, this would be a really cool way to like incorporate into an angel's like super attack, you know? So that, seeing those pieces come together and seeing those moments where the Lord's like, here's a nugget that I'm giving you, turn this into a fun thing for your game, is it blows my mind every time. It's so fun. It always fits perfectly. Like we, chisel away at the edges and kind of make it fit within the realm of the game, but it's always so cool to see those moments. It's always so cool to see that kind of come up.
Yeah.
That's my like overall like design fun story is seeing those moments and getting those calls at like 10 o'clock at night where you're like, let's get this designed. Um, the my origin story, I was advertised the game on Facebook, and this was back in like 2019, 2020. And I had just followed along. I reached out and I was like, oh, I like this game. Like like Adam was like, oh, Christian game. This probably isn't gonna go anywhere. But then I saw the art, and I wish Dan was here because while I love the game and I love like Deliverance, Dan was the persuader that got me into really like pursuing this game. Like it was like I saw it and I thought to myself, this isn't like those other Christian games. This isn't like the ones with the cringy art that can sometimes be a little goofy, or like you're taking yourself seriously. The game takes itself seriously, and I forget which reviewer said recently, but they were saying just how serious. I think it was actually the interview with the church pastor at Grace Church.
Yeah.
He was saying how the art it takes itself seriously, and it really does. And that was what drew me into the game. That's what really got me to start paying attention. So fast forward, a couple months, I'm seeing a lot of engagement on the Facebook. I'm like, this would go really well if we had a Discord server. So I reached out to you and I was like, hey, do you have a Discord server set up? And to summarize your response, it was yes, but I'm very noob at it and I have no idea what I'm doing. Um, so
Kind
I
of
was like, hey, so I've done Discord servers on the side. I've done it for payment before, where I set it up and I get people uh, set up on a Discord server to engage with their fans, and I offered to just do it as a fan. I didn't, take any payment for it. I just wanted to help you get that set up, and I was fully under the assumption that once this was set up, I was just going to hand the keys over to you and be like, okay, have fun. And when that time came, you're like, can you stay? And I was like, I mean, I guess I don't want to see all the secret staff stuff and all the design stuff. And you're like, well, just, stick around. And if I have any questions with the server, I'll ask you and you can do that. And that kind of went on up until I want to say Deliverance Con. That was kind of like the turning point where it's like we need a social platform to engage with people on a larger scale. And so we kicked that into high gear. I came more closely to doing what you wanted to do with like design work and getting the Discord set up. Um, And then fast forward to after the first Kickstarter, I'm helping you play test things and design things. And then fast forward to the current expansion where I'm literally in staff meetings with you and Adam and Dan, like seeing the art, helping make design direction choices and play testing things and giving feedback. And I'm like, what am I doing? This is crazy. Like, I didn't think I'd be doing this. How did I get here? Like, you turn around and you look at like your steps and it's like, whoa, I'm like really far deeper than I thought I was initially.
God thing for sure.
And to kind of break the news to the community, if you haven't heard, I guess if I haven't told you, Andrew just recently extended me to come on full time and be a contract worker with him, and I'm actually going to be stepping away from my day job to do board games full time. And it was just this like slow trickle of the Lord just saying, follow me and trust me and see what's going to happen. And now I'm getting to do board games for my job, and it's going to be amazing.
That's awesome.
So I'm really excited. Deliverance is absolutely life-changing. I mean, there have been moments of getting a little emotional.
Thankfully, for the first time, someone's doing it other than me.
It's not you this time, Andrew.
It's not you this time, Andrew. I remember when we first got to South Carolina, we had a medical emergency, and it was a pretty pricey one. Going to the ER, and I was like, I gotta take care of this. And the community just rallied so much around us, and treated us like family. And you specifically, you and your family did so much for us. And I was so blown away. I was like, this is, you see so many people that claim to be Christians and claim to like do things and don't really put the money where their mouth is, so to speak. And Deliverance is more than just a board game. It's more than just a passion project. It really is an outpouring of your heart and your love for Christ. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
well, it's awesome. Thanks, Jazz. Thanks
Yeah.
everybody for sharing. So you guys I have my wonderful wife here. So I could probably talk a lot closer to the microphone. I've got my wonderful wife here, and Christy. This is Christine, by the way, the voice of thunder. She's got a voice of thunder. Fun fact about Christy, she has a scream that is louder than any movie sound effect you've ever heard. It's unbelievable. She'll destroy her voice in like 1 second though, but she used to do that on roller coasters.
Yeah,
and
I do it like on like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride just to like scare the people.
Just like a really lame
So,
a really lame ride at
my
Disneyland.
My sister would be right next to me, and she'd go, Christy, do the scream, like, and just to get a reaction out of people. But they'd always laugh hysterically. They would always just look back and laugh. So
We were going over our memorable moments. So what's one memorable moment you've had from like our time working on Deliverance together?
So much. Let me think.
Or if there's a story you want to tell, you just tell a story.
Let's see. I think
just comes
I have a feeling that the most memorable moment
So
for
go ahead
me
and
was
talk into the
okay. I
microphone
gotta
and
move my chair then.
Yeah.
I think the most memorable moment, I can say it's kind of like a string of events. It's when we were in the car, and so the beginning of Deliverance. That's when Andrew was so frustrated because I felt so bad because like, I'm sorry, honey, I don't think I could play this game. I'm so sorry. It's like another game that I just said I just felt like I couldn't play because there's some things in it like, but I'll play it, but just kind of feeling guilty playing it. And I remember Andrew just sitting there just so frustrated, and that on the way home from that, it was like a vacation that we were on. He just said, I'm so frustrated that there's no games out there. Like, just so frustrated. I was like, I know. And he said, what if I designed a board game? And I just I was just like, yeah, that's a good idea, honey. That's a good idea. Like, that's, no idea what was going to happen next. But there was that moment right there. It's the most memorable. I remember exactly where we were, exactly where I was when you said those words. And then I also remember God telling us the direction of where to take it. And that was when we were sitting on the couch of our old home. And I remember just praying like, Lord, what do you want the purpose of this game to be? And that was like the whole, like, where we're going to build this game from. Because God told us to do it. It's like, well, Lord, okay, so this is not just a board game. So where do you want us to go with this? Who is our target audience? What do you want it to do? And it just basically said, I want you to refresh the hearts of the saints with this game. And so that was probably the most memorable for me. Like, that's what really sticks in my head with Deliverance. And I've been, like, when we talk and we kind of go forward with design and we go forward with ideas of the cards, I'm always like thinking, okay, like, does this fulfill the purpose that the Lord told us about this game? Does it refresh the hearts of the saints? And I don't play a very big part. I just don't. My big part, I don't.
That's not true.
I don't. But there are times where this poor, amazing team that has been working so hard on this game, I like frustrate so much. Just like, no, there's just one thing. I'm sorry. It's just not right. Just every once in a while, I have to say they do such an amazing job. Everything they do is perfect. I mean, like Dan, crazy talented designer. Adam, I remember seeing your stuff, like, so you were really good at design. I have to say that. I remember your graphic design. It's true. I remember it. So you guys are all so talented. And sadly, because I am, my job is with the Munchkins in the background, you guys don't hear that a lot from me. So you guys only hear when I come out and say, I don't know. And Andrew says, wife doesn't approve of it yet. So, but I'm glad I actually got an opportunity to just look at you guys and just say, seriously, you guys are the most talented people. And I wish that you could hear that from me more than the every once in a while Christy chimes in, because that's all you really get to hear.
Well, that's really valuable. I don't want to belittle that at all, because the women's intuition of something's just not right here.
Yeah, it's because I'm a mama. So I don't have a problem with it, but I have a lot of friends and I know what other moms are going to say. What are you playing? What are you playing there? They're going to look at it and say, what are you playing? Just even though it's completely innocent, it glorifies God. There's so much in it. One little thing can just set off the radar of the mom for no reason. So I think it has to do with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that the sixth sense is tingling.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about the when we did the original Angels and we put together what we wanted Dan to do. Talk about that. What do you remember about?
That was funny. So I think, wasn't our first angel Christine?
I think so.
It was Christine,
Or
which
no,
is
it was Azrael, or maybe it was.
It was Christine, because I remember doing Azrael. So Christine, it was not supposed to be based off of me at all. In fact, it was just kind of like, as we were explaining things, like, okay, well, first Andrew had an idea to base it off of, who was it, Andrew? It was
Lady Agrius Oaks from Final Fantasy Tactics.
So that was,
the one with
that's
where
the
Lightning
braid.
Stab came
That's
from.
where the braid comes from.
Yeah.
And I remember looking and being like, but you want it, is this going to be like an anime game? Like, I don't know. Like, is that really the direction we want to go with anime? Like, there's going to be some problems with that for some people. And I don't know if that's really what we want to do. So we prayed about it. We prayed. And like every single thing that you hear me say no to, I am always like saying, I don't think this is good, but let me pray about it. And then I seek God on it. And a lot of times God's like, Christy, get over yourself and get out of the way. This is good. Just like shut up and let it happen. But sometimes God's like, okay, like, you need to talk to Andrew about it. Or you need to hold your ground. Hate it when he says that one, because it's not easy to be the submissive wife, but also like, no, yeah, God really is telling me this, So long story short, we start designing this character, and I remember like looking at this character, just trying to figure out the style, and it kept like coming back as this kind of weak, like beautiful woman. And it was like, well, but we want her to be strong though, right? Like we want her to be strong. So my sister was like ridiculously like in shape. And this time she had already passed. So what we did is we pulled photos of my sister, who actually looks a whole lot like me, except for her body type. She's like insanely beefcake, like really strong, and like 6-pack and biceps, like amazing. So we pulled that, and then we pulled like back in the day when I was dressed me when I was like I don't know, 20 years old, 21 years old, and I was in my Spartan outfit for Halloween, and the glory days, right? So long story short, like all these different things, and then we started pulling pictures for from like not bodybuilders, but like the women, the Amazon women from what is it called, Andrew? Wonder Woman. You guys know the Wonder Woman Amazon women? And we just kind of brought all these pictures in. We're like, okay, so just like a mesh of this, do like a mesh of this. And we just like picked, and it was after that, it was like, whoa, she looks awesome. And I remember sketching like the stupidest sketch, because I'm not really that great. Like you guys have seen probably his little Andrew thing, but I just like sketch like a silly little thing.
Get it. You keep talking.
Okay. I'm like, okay, well, what about like this for the outfit? And what about that? And stupid little sketches. And then we give it to Dan, and Dan's like, whoosh, like this awesome like picture. Like, no way. How did you get that from that? So this is like me. Just I did that for Andrew in like an hour, just like something silly
That's
for his
awesome.
birthday.
That's awesome.
So-
I love it.
Looking at
It's just a silly little watercolor sketch thing, but I just wanted to do something funny because I've never done it.
that was kind of awesome.
I've actually never really.
It's
Yeah, I
it's
don't-
like a nice caricature. Like
Yeah.
It's
everybody
just-
always does caricatures so mean. That one looks like a nice caricature.
He has so many T-shirts, and every time I give him a T-shirt, it just ends up at like he wears it like once, and then he's like, "Yeah, I did it, check," and then back to his Deliverance T-shirt. So I had to do something different. But yeah, that's my little.
I remember just on that point on Dan's art, when he first revealed, and Adam and Andrew were there when this happened, when he first revealed the Nezi, the hunter, the heavenly hunter art, I just stopped and I was like, Dan, can I use that if I ever get a tattoo?
I know.
Yeah, I remember
It's like I want to use that as like on my arm as like a tattoo for like the Lion of Judah or something. I'm like, that is amazing. That dude is so talented.
He's so talented.
Yeah, I want to say another thing about Dan, since he's not here, can't speak for himself. That I sometimes forget he's the artist, and the reason why is because he's such a good game designer.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's
like Dan
true.
is in the meetings with us. We have regular meetings to do game development and workshop characters, and Dan is just
He's
some of
very
the
good.
some of the ideas he has, and it's like, whoa, that's really good. And then he's gonna go, paint something. He's always painting
Yeah.
in the background. while
He'll be
he's
quiet, like
telling
doing
us
his
what to
art.
do.
He'll be like doing his art, and then like he'll be muted, and we just hear like, actually, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. What if we do it this way? And it's like, oh, we forgot you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good designer.
That's awesome. It's true too.
We are
You know,
we are $90 away. by
oh
the
snap!
way.
Oh snap! Hey, we got to do a little
From
dance if
480.
when we make it.
Right there.
Yeah, I see. It's
$90.
479,000. Hey, we just passed 500 backers more than we had last time. We had 2,717. We now have 3,218. So we are more than 500 backers from last time. It's amazing.
You have some whistling to do.
Oh snap!
That's about
Yeah.
a plus 20%.
Oh snap!
yeah, there we
goes.
go.
We did it. We did it. Yay! So I was gonna say something. Yay! Well, I guess
Wow.
I have to update that on the Kickstarter page.
We still have 30
shoot.
minutes.
What's the next stretch goal?
Oh
Oh man.
man, if we get like, if my mom's listening right now, yeah. We always joke about my mom dropping in money because she's such a big advocate for Deliverance, such a huge a fan, and it's so cool, it's just so cool. My both my parents, but my mom is the extroverted one, and so we always joke about like, if we need to, I mean, I could call my mom and she'll take the last Archangel Investor. Like she, I was just joking like that, but she's just such a big advocate. I want to give her some praise because I appreciate her so much. If you're watching this, Mom, you can take my kids anytime. I was thinking about Dan. He's like hardcore, work as hard as he can for Deliverance. So this we were working on Raudbjörn. That's how you say his name, by the way. It's actually Raudbjörn. Raudbjörn. But which I practiced.
You can roll your R's too.
Yeah,
whistle and roll your R's. Look at that.
Yeah, I can talk like a dwarf. So that's another skill that I have. So Dan was working overtime, and his painting arm is like the gift. And he put 12 to 14 hour days in painting. So he'd be sitting in a chair using one arm painting for 12 to 14 hours. And he actually said it's 2 fingers that really does the majority of the work. I don't know exactly how, he holds his pencil or whatever, he always paints on a digital tablet. But then he told me that he was having such a hard time at the end of the Kickstarter, since he had been putting overtime in for probably 12 to 14 hour days from the time, and he has several kids, and his wife works, and he's the one that stays at home with the family. But when his boys go to school, that's when he does the majority of his work. Typically gets in 6 hours a day of work, but he's been putting in 12 in addition to all the insanity or more. And he said that his fingers would be so swollen that he would actually have to put them inside. He would actually just hold his hand in a bowl of ice water. And then he would, after 10 minutes, he would put heat, like a heat pack. He would wrap his hand in a heat pack, and then he'd go back and forth until the swelling went down enough that he could continue painting. That's how bad it was, at the very end. And that's how committed Dan is to this project. It's just really incredible to see how. Really everyone that works on this project, I feel, even the people that aren't on this call, we have Jacob, Cecil, Donnie Chase, Sean Bradford, Rick Phillips, which, by the way, Rick, I saw you say something in chat, and I'm glad you're here, and Alex Toro and Ryan Williams, of course, my wife, and
Chip, don't
Chip
forget
Cole.
Chip.
Yeah,
Yes.
there are a lot of people that work on this project that just deserve to be named, or
Massive shout
that
outs.
enable me to, because I have, as I mentioned, I have a full-time gig in a marketing company, which, by the way, every penny that this project raises, I am not taking any of it. Maybe I'll take a little bit and go out on to a nice, treat my kids to a nice dinner at BJ's for, $150 tomorrow or something. I don't know. But, we definitely, the people that work on this are the ones that enable me to do everything that I do. The ones on Next Level Web is my company. We do digital marketing and stuff, but Crowdfunding Nerds is kind of how I blend Deliverance into the digital marketing side. I help other people kind of crowdfund as well. But the people at Next Level Web, the people I mentioned, they keep the show moving. All the clients getting services, they are the ones on the line making sure that that's happening. And without each of them, without especially Richard, Sean, really everybody at Next Level Web, Richard, Jacob, Sean, Ryan, Alex, and Donnie. So those 6 I just couldn't do it without them, because they enable me to have the hours to work on this. And it's been a full-time job. This Kickstarter campaign has seriously been a full-time job. It's completely wild. So my plan was to do an update every Monday and every Thursday, and which is about 6 hours per update. I didn't realize, but turns out I write a lot. I'm sorry, guys. If you don't like reading a lot, then you should I don't know what to do. I just have a lot to say. I try to keep it to only like important things, but yeah, Raphael says Robot Richard. We call him Robot Richard on our podcast. He's the one that always closes us out, and so we use like the same robot voice or robot. Anyway, but yeah, so anyway, the point that I wanted to make is that I just really appreciate everybody for, on the Next Level website for believing in this enough and to put their all in. Like normally when I always hear stories about how employees will say, that's not in my job description. And that's a very normal thing to say. But I have never heard one of my staff members say that. I've heard staff members say things like, I need help with that, or I don't want to do that because of X, Y, Z. And it's like, okay, how can we, my thought, instead of being like, well, you need to do it because I'm the boss or whatever, I'm always thinking, well, how can we get it done? We have to get it done together, but many hands make light work. So everybody wears different hats, all the time. And it's like, sometimes I have to jump on a call with a client. Other times, I'm like, hey, I'm busy. Can anybody take this for me? And they do. And nobody is. And on the Deliverance side, everyone's always like, hey, how can we get it done? And it's like, I need somebody to do this, that, or the other. Someone's always volunteering. Someone, and it just feels like this project, this Deliverance project, is this huge, like almost like everybody believes in it. We're all on this train moving in the same direction together because it's not just about a game. It's more than that. It's about what it's going to do in the hearts of the saints that receive it. And it's just, I'm glad that people have something awesome that they get to play. And I'm also glad that, that they have something that will encourage them, and every single one on the team is fully on board, and, everybody goes through their difficult times, but everybody sure does a good job hiding it from me because I'm always, all I try to do is just empower my people to do what they do well, and so I feels like they pay me back in much more than I give because they enable us to raise $480,507. It's just incredible. So, anyway, I appreciate you guys. So,
thank you.
Yeah. To add to that,
we appreciate
I
you
want to add a little bit to what you just said. But the first thing I want to say is, you mentioned it and touched on it a little bit, but I just want to shout out to all of our spouses. Like you said, like we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without all of their help and all of their support, and taking those moments where we need that help and encouragement and prayer, and we really do appreciate that. And to add on to what you were saying, like it takes a good leader for people to want to do good work. And you as first a friend, but then as somebody who's leading us in all these multifaceted projects, you're not leading from behind, you're leading from the front. You're wearing all the hats with us. You're not asking us to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. And to take somebody that's going from in my situation, volunteer work to part-time to full-time, like that transition doesn't happen unless you believe in that person. There were multiple opportunities where I could have just been like, okay, well, this guy kind of is just doing it for the money or just doing it for his own gain, and just left when I didn't have a stake in it, when I wasn't getting money from it or wasn't having to rely on you for this. And that, again, like that transition doesn't happen unless you trust the person and trust that that leader is going to do a good job leading. And so the reason why that community and that I mean, even to our community, but the community in your work between Next Level Web and the Deliverance side, and then our Discord community and our Deliverance community is the way it is because of the good leadership that you've shown. So thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, well, it's easy when, Christy had this dream one time, and it's something that's really stuck with me. And you want to tell it, actually? You're probably remember way more of it than I do. But it was something that I always think about. And it's kind of like my guide in a lot of ways. of what my attitude needs to be like, and what my heart needs to be like when I'm working on this stuff. So yeah, this is a good story. It's a good story. Here, you go ahead.
I could just scooch over.
Yeah,
it'd be easier. All right, so I don't. Every once in a while, I'll have like a dream. It's like when I say every once in a while, I mean like once every quite a few years. Not like when you just know something is just from the Lord. And there's this one dream I had that woke me up, and it was just so clear. It's like I'm talking to you right now. And I just got up and wrote it down. Like I said, it's like years that I get these things. And there's this one dream I had, and I got me up. It was I don't know, it's been a while, but it was me and my family, like all of us, and we were all just traveling, all adventuring up this hill.
It's Christine, Gabriel, and Shula.
Yeah, is it all of us? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I think you got to help me with some facts. I have it written down.
My brother-in-law Ryan, we used his likeness for Gabriel.
Yeah.
And then my sister-in-law Jessie, we used her likeness for Shula.
Yep.
And so yeah. So
and then my father, my dad, is Michael. Yeah. So his likeness. So, anyways, we're all traveling up this mountain like this in the darkness, and all of our trails behind us and ahead of us are this bright blue. They're this like blazing bright blue, except for Andrew's. Andrew's trail ahead of him was not there. And I just heard the Lord say to me, this is, you guys you guys can keep doing what you're doing. I have a plan for you. But Andrew, if he does not seek me, will get lost in his path. He'll get, so the behind him was like flaming yellow, like this flaming yellow path wherever he went, just flaming yellow. But basically what God was saying was, if he does not seek me, continue to seek me, then that will fizzle out. It's unsure where his path will go. And it was like so clear that I was like, oh my goodness, Andrew, wake up. I gotta tell you something. So, but yeah, I think I actually woke him up that night. It's like, babe, you gotta make sure you listen to God, because he's got a really big plan for you. But if you don't listen to him, or you rather get stuck and you just try to, this is what I felt he was saying, because it's really easy to autopilot with something like Deliverance. Really easy to just, okay, let's get the work done. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I love that idea. And then there goes the Bible studies. There goes the spending time with God on your knees and really seeking him for spiritual advice on whether or not that prayer card is supposed to be in there, or if he's missing something. Like, I mean, there's so many examples of where God's just said, no, that's not a good idea. And it's like, oh, why? Right? Like, we have so many of them. And then now they kind of make sense. Like, now it makes more sense. But it was just the Lord spoke so clearly, Andrew, if you don't really bury yourself in my word while you're creating this game, then it's not going to be, it's just, you're going to venture off and it'll be darkness. But if you keep going, then it'll be blazing. So yeah, that was a really cool dream.
Your mic is cut somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
I think you might have touched it.
Might have hit the mute. Go ahead and do your whistle now while nobody can hear you.
Oh, not yet.
Or a cord pulled.
Button pressed.
There you go.
There
you
it
go.
is. Yeah. Oh, they said they're
Say they
missing
can't
you
hear
on,
you on
on
YouTube.
YouTube. So while he's getting that figured out, this is an ongoing joke that I keep telling the team, and I kind of want to make it a semi-reality, is every time we have some kind of tech problem, I want to make a fallen prince that is related to tech problems.
Were we working on that,
You know,
guy?
I think I might have done something that is now making everybody hear what I say, and the microphone is picking up everything that everybody says. So I'm gonna have to switch to my headphones just in case, so that people don't hear double. All right, go ahead and talk again, Chaz.
Maybe just a darkness card
Nope.
for Murphy flops.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. I'm sure you're all hearing double.
Oh, it sounds like they can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Test. Yes, we're back.
Yeah.
did
Sounds
it.
like because I read the chat and I hear it in my head.
No,
So 20 minutes to go.
We
Only
yes,
20
20
minutes to go.
minutes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
So
we were working on that, Adam, for a bit.
Yeah, so I felt the
Story.
dream was saying to me that others would follow in my footsteps, and that I needed to walk this path for other people so that they could follow. And as a result, actually, this dream happened before Deliverance was released, but maybe after our Kickstarter, or was it before the first Kickstarter? I can't remember.
Before the first Kickstarter. But
So-
it was like when you were designing it still.
Yeah, so before the first Kickstarter. So you guys probably notice how in our emails or our updates every once in a while I will lift up another project and just share with you guys about them, and it's always because I'm interested in helping other people, but I feel like it's kind of a little bit of a mission to help others, you know, give them an opportunity to get a leg up. You know, I was, in fact, actually, 481,000. I was given a leg up by Sam Healy early on, and who actually, Raudbjorn is modeled after Sam Healy. Not because, you know, a lot of games will give like a model of like an influencer so that they can talk to their audience and be like, look, I got a cool card, you know, but our angels take 100 hours to paint. They are not, they take a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and no influencer is worth this much, you know, for the sake of like talking to their audience, you know, and a lot of the time, you know, because it's a small, like it's a 6-inch tall character, you might not think that there's so much that goes into it, but you know, our art is just next level. Dan is a perfectionist and he does such a great job. But so Sam Healy, we wanted to honor Sam Healy with what he did for us. And so anyway, I just I felt like Sam gave me the helping hand. Sam was higher than I was, and he brought his hand down to help me up, you know. And also Kyle Mann of the Babylon Bee, I actually heard, you know, I know the Babylon Bee is like a satire site, you know, and I heard it, you know, every once in a while I would see an article and here and there and be like a funny, silly article or like a Republicans dissing on Democrats article or whatever. And but our editor, Ian Tyrell, at the time was like, hey, Kyle Mann is playing Star Wars Rebellion on the podcast, the Babylon Bee podcast. And I was like, Babylon Bee has a podcast? What are you guys talking about? I thought it was just this little niche site, kind of like The Onion, but The Onion is like the liberal version, and the Babylon Bee is like the conservative version of satire, you know? And so I reached out to Kyle on Twitter, and I never use Twitter. Twitter is the worst. I feel like Twitter is the cesspool of inner thoughts that should just stay inside. And it's like, why would I be on this? It's just people get in trouble when they're on Twitter, you know? And, but I reached out because I had a Twitter account, that I think like an old one or something that I made for Deliverance in 2018 that I never used. And, so I sent a message to Kyle, and Kyle was like, "Hey, you're like 2 hours away from me. You should come up to my house and we should play the game together." I'm like, "Really?" Like this, famous guy in my eyes was like, "Hey, come visit with me." And so we had a game night a couple of times, and he loves the game, and he went very much out of his way in a lot of respects to help me, to promote me, and to just talk about me and talk about Deliverance. He brought us on the podcast, the Babylon Bee podcast, the first time. He actually invited us to go on the podcast again, but I felt like with it being an election year and Babylon Bee being so much like a conservative thing, I just didn't, there's really no place for my personal like political convictions to influence the game's Kickstarter. I don't know. I mean, I felt like
That's not the point of the game.
yeah, it would just do worse than anything. I mean, I would love to go anywhere that they will have me to talk about Deliverance, but I think with it being a month or less than a month away from a giant election in the United States, they're definitely going to be talking about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Donald Trump and all of that, and I'm like, maybe it's just going to hurt the game more than anything. And so I actually I turned it down, and I decided to just use their email blasts and podcast reads and other things instead. And actually one of Kyle's podcast reads he actually, a couple of them, he was like, "Yeah, I can't believe they paid me to say this. I love this game. I would have said it for free." Idiots, or they're fools. They paid me because they're fools. It was really funny. But yeah, so, when I think that in my position as what will eventually might become an influencer in the board game space, or maybe is now, I need to use that to help build other worthy projects up. The problem that I find in when Christians make projects, sometimes they're lame, and those projects I don't want to share. If I wouldn't want to share it with my friends, I don't know if I'd want to share it like with you guys, but there are really good projects that are out there that just deserve to be shared. And, like the Great Commissioned card game was really cool. It was actually really innovative. I was like, this is going to be lame. And they were like, "Hey, play it with us. We're big fans of Deliverance. Can you play this game with us on Tabletop Simulator? Say what you think about it." And I was so surprised. I had so much fun. I was like, I found so many combos that broke the game, and then we barely won. I was like, wow, and so I just was like, I need to push these guys. I need to help these guys. And it turns out like over 60 of their backers like over 10% of their backers came from Deliverance fans. And I think that that's so cool, just to be able to share, in essence, to share awesome, worthy things with you guys and have you guys trust me enough to be like, yeah, we're going to do this, So, oh snap. Is Sean on here? I see Richard saying, "Is Sean here?" Oh yeah. Oh man. Barnacle Blake asked, "Did Kirk Cameron ever get back to you?" How shall I answer this? He did. Yeah. So, it was, yeah, I'll try to be careful about it. Nothing against him. But what happened was they loved Deliverance. We reached out to them. They immediately reached back. I actually had a contract signed and a full intent to have Kirk do like 2 email blasts and a Facebook post and like an Instagram thing. And I hadn't talked to Kirk yet, but he signed it and I signed it. And then he called me on the phone and was like, "Hey, I heard about this. I heard Dallas Jenkins." Well, the understanding was that I would pay him money for positions, which is totally okay. Like, people need to charge for things. He has an email list. He has an ear for people. Like, I'm going to make way more money than I pay him for services if his people are on board. And if he endorses Deliverance, it's like a big deal, but he called me on the phone and he said that, "Hey, I'm sorry. I looked more into this. I looked deeper into it. And I can't endorse your game. I can't share about your game." And he wouldn't tell me why, but
He said we weird on something.
He said he believed something that like 99% of others don't believe, and I think that he is a cessationist that believes kind of the gifts of the spirits are maybe at rest now, and that there's no casting out of demons anymore or anything like that, and maybe, but we don't know. It's totally conjecture, but I'm not going to hold anybody to something that they don't want to do, and so I'm not going to make a stink about that at all. But it ended up kind of, leaving a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth because I signed an agreement and he said he would do something and then he decided not to. But, in the end, I actually got a game. I sent a game to him that he received, and he has 2 of his sons that are like hardcore gamers. Like one of them is like a Magic player, plays Magic the Gathering, the card game, and then another one's like a huge board gamer, and they're gonna play Deliverance as a family. And I don't want to burn a bridge with a guy that has personal convictions. Like I just have to respect that, and signature or not, that's the most important thing. Is like, this is clearly a religious conviction type thing, and this is a religious game. It's a if there's something in there that you disagree with. But it's interesting because I feel like every major celebrity has thus far been, other than the several that I mentioned, have thus far been kind of unwilling to put themselves behind it. And that's well, Kevin Sorbo was down. Yeah, he was Kevin Sorbo. I have Kevin Sorbo's cell phone number. It's super cool. We talked for like a half hour. He's really cool, but we decided not to use him because most of his posts are like very political as well. But he said he'd be down to voice Michael the Archangel if we did a video game, or if we did a that kind of thing. So yeah, I have his. He's on my short list. So
go for the one that most resembles Hercules.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we're down to 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Man, that's so crazy. So
This is cool. It's like the truth.
Yeah. No, what is it? What is
So
it?
David said, of the 200 board games I have introduced my wife to in the last 20 years, this was the game that first one that she played again and again.
That's awesome.
That's so awesome.
It's because it's co-op and it's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you like Deliverance?
Because we don't have to fight. No, it's seriously on date nights. Like, okay, he's not a sore loser, but I am a little bit of a sore loser. I'll be the first to admit it. So
Sometimes it's really fun.
It's so fun to conquer demons together. It's so exciting. Like, and I'll still play competitive games like Tapestry and Wormspan, Everdell.
Undaunted 2200.
Yeah, so much fun. I love them. I do love them. But my favorite is Deliverance, and that's saying a lot considering it's the other woman in our household.
Yeah, that's what we call Deliverance.
It's like, it's Deliverance.
Why do you call it the other woman?
Because when I am like 9 months pregnant, about to deliver a baby, I'm walking, and Andrew, all he can talk about is like Deliverance, like, oh, I have this character, this, that, and I'm like, can we just talk about the baby for? Okay, yeah, sure. And then I'm talking to him, you can just see he's thinking, he's just thinking about Deliverance, like, and he's, yeah. So what do you think about? Oh, babe, I'm about to have this baby. Can we talk about something different, please? Can we please talk about something different? So it's the other woman. But it's my favorite game to play. It really is my favorite game. And at first, like, I thought, I'm not going to ever want to really play Deliverance because it's all we ever talk about. It's like, it's the funnest game in our entire collection. And I know it seems like I'd be biased, and you're right, but I'm biased the other direction. So that's saying a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, what do your guys' wives say about this? Is Deliverance the other woman in your guys' households?
Yeah, that's a good question.
For mine, she is always asking me, "Are you sure you're actually working?" Because there's a lot of like laughter and happiness coming from when you're doing Deliverance work. So it's always like, "Are you sure you're always working?"
That's awesome.
It's been an absolute blessing for my wife.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because there have been a number of involvements that Cassie's had. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, she sang on the Deliverance trailer. And
40,
I think
482.
Yeah, pretty good number. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest.
And
Screenshot.
3232 backers.
Oh, that's so good for my
You gotta
OCD.
screenshot that, man. You gotta screenshot
So
that.
good for my OCD. Hang on a second.
The camera, take a picture.
I was
Oops.
I was sad when we passed the palindrome of 3223. It's like, oh, the
That's the
next one's
best
not
idea.
until 3333. But
Oh, barely got it.
Oh, come on, you got this. You can do it.
I got it.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's in the Discord.
I
It's
got
in the
one.
Discord.
I don't know. Look at that. 3, 2, 3, 1.
3, 2, 3, 1. I don't know which one I like that.
Oh, that's another good one.
4, 8, 1, 2, 8, 1. I don't know, man.
See, my OCD just loves these numbers. So carry on, Adam. Carry on.
Oh yeah, we recorded the song. That was a fun adventure that you can hear all about in the mini documentary that we also shot talking about recording the song, and that was fun. That was just a little treat for everyone and treat for us to do. And
That was really
so
cool.
if you haven't watched that yet, check it out. It's really polished, really nice.
Yeah.
She's listening to this too, so she'll get mad at me if I say anything too embarrassing. So
Yeah.
As Cassie was rehearsing and learning this, I mean, it was constantly being played in the house. She'd be playing on the piano, singing it. All of the kids, Lord bless me, just everywhere in the house. It was stuck in everyone's head. Everyone was singing it, so it was a pretty sacred space there for a while. While all that was going on. Yeah.
They're saying they can't hear you again. Lost audio.
Put it in the middle, and we'll move our chairs.
Okay, you can hear me now, and let me see if I. Okay, so let me
That's
see
the
if I
most
can.
finicky.
It is. It's the microphone that the little attachment is all cheapy, messy. So let me see.
Is it pulling your audio from the camera?
Now it's back. So the way that I fix it is I switch the audio to the camera and then switch it back to the microphone. So, weird. Sorry, guys.
Don't touch it.
So what I was saying when I was muted was that I was so the version that I remember is that Cassie finished around 2:00 in the afternoon with all of the song that Daniel wanted her to record. And they did a bunch of different takes and whatnot. And then Adam, you said, hey, we have the time. Let's just continue and record, versions of the song. Yeah, let's play around. And that's when Cassie did her, she just went completely off script and did her oohs and ahs that so impressed me. That was like, this has to be in the song. It's so incredible. And Cassie next time I'm just going to say, Cassie, take this microphone and just be awesome. Okay? Go, and she'll just blow everyone's socks off with awesomeness. I have another song that I would like her to sing that is going to push her voice a little bit, that I think will be... See, I'm not a very good musician myself, but I'm a good appreciator of music. Just like I'm not, at the time, before I designed a game, I wasn't a very good game designer, but I knew what made a good game. And so it's I feel like this particular thing is going to really, really go well with Cassie's voice, and it's going to allow us to use that sound booth again in an incredible way. So, Cassie, wait for my call. It'll be a while, but
Yeah.
would love that. Oh, 100.
We got the second countdown.
Wow.
Seconds.
So this is your last. Oh, this is my last chance to press buttons. I need to press buttons. So let's get my advanced analytics. I have to download these. Let's download the advanced analytics. So
this is a little less exciting.
Yeah.
Watching this.
And then I need to get into build campaign. Come on. Can I do it in time is the question. Let's get into the story.
80 seconds to
knocked
go.
that Andrew's whistle track down. We got, let's see, let's add Deliverance. The best Christian game ever made. And then best Christian game, and I link to
60 seconds to go.
Oh, I'm got this. PlayDeliverance.com, because that's a really good backlink, right, Richard? Oh, I got the thing. All right, I'm just saving it. Hurry, I had to save the thing. Got to update the stretch goals. Come on, guys, we can do this. All right, I'm doing this thing. Doing the stretch goals. Come on, stretch goals. Where are we at? Oh, I don't have a whistle track. Stretch goal saved. Come on, all right. Oh,
30 seconds.
I do. Hang on. Come on. Can I do it? Bob the Builder, can he do it?
Is that it right there? Yeah.
Come on, press that.
18.
Give me the save
17,
button. Come on.
16.
Oh, yeah. I saved the thing, and...
T-minus 10.
Thank you, backers.
8,
Yeah, I did.
7.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been great.
It's been awesome.
Yay. Okay. Now
Thank
that
you
that
all.
is completed. Holy cow.
Hey, there's confetti.
I didn't see
GG.
Well, hey,
I saw
if I missed-
the backers going 3-2-3-2 and 3-2-3-1, but we ended on the double 3-2-3-2.
Wow. Okay. That was awesome. All right.
Wow.
So let's see. How do I? That's incredible.
481.
Thank you guys. This was really incredible. I'm so blessed to be a part of this,
cool.
and we did it. We did it. So let's look at what our final numbers are on the back end. So 481,338, 641% funded because I used an actually real funding goal. 3,232 backers. Let's see. We went from 439,281 all the way to 481. So 439. Wow, that's about $42,000 on the final day. And then we went from 402 to 439. So we earned $37,000 and then $42,000. Average play is $148. Is incredible. Skipping some of those things, our total conversion rate is 37%. Wow. Holy cow!
That's
4,700
insane.
project followers.
Nice.
Wow.
37% converted. That's really incredible.
Impressive.
Nice.
Really amazing. So yeah, that's pretty. That makes me pretty happy. Did we ever get? Nope. We never got the seventh Archangel investor. Did we need it? No.
Nah.
We got exactly 500 everything all in backers. We got 572 for the whole gameplay bundle. We got 945 people in for the everything new pledge. Wow. We had 174 in for the base game. 431 in for the deluxe expansion. We have 41 retailers jumped in. Pretty cool.
Nice.
We had 523 people back at the $1 pledge. And then 40 people gave us some money because we're just wonderful people. So that's kind of awesome. It's kind of awesome. So let's see.
I'm sure Dan doesn't mind not having to make the 7th piece of art.
Yeah.
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 That's true.
Yep. So this is pretty awesome. So let's see what's going on in the comments here. Before we go, I'd love to let me see. I wonder how I can move this thing. I'm like seeing this. It is misbehaving. I cannot move it. Anyway, I suck. I'm a better game designer than I am a chat mover. So there. Yeah. So let's see. Ugh. Press buttons. I'm trying to press fewer buttons. Sorry, guys. All right. So we've got questions. If you have questions, please ask them. We would love to answer. First question, Gian Holland. How long is the late pledge going to remain open? We are going to. So first of all, I'm going to take a nap and then take Monday off, and then we'll get to the. We're going to work on Hive Pledge Manager. We currently have. We're using the Kickstarter late pledge right now, and that is that'll be open at least a week. So that's going to allow people to continue to back at pledge levels at the exact same level as Kickstarter. We're going to have the we're going to give people a little bit more time, if they haven't found or if they just found the game, they can jump in and get the free, metal coin and other things like that, free card dividers. Also, for those of you, just so you know, for those of you that want to earn a title for on Deliverance, the Deliverance Discord, we're giving you the ability to earn a title all the way through the weekend. So, nice. Because a lot of you guys have to work, and so now go beat the game on Infernal so you can get your Slayer title. The last time that we offered this was actually the last campaign, right? Yep. So if you want to jump in, now's your chance. Beat the game on Heroic, you become Squire. Beat the game on Nightmare, you become a Warden. Beat the game on and this is on Board Game Arena. All you have to do is just screenshot your results and you can get that. So let's see. I wonder where. Like
I think has the Intercessor been updated yet, Nate?
I want to move this thing.
On Board Game Arena.
Here, I have an idea.
It's the one with 3 health.
Okay, so if you want to get your Slayer title on easy mode,
it's like people have been getting their titles pretty. When we released Intercessor, I think it was last week, Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, people started just getting titles like crazy because it feels awesome. A little OP. Yep. The night before, I had developed it for just 2 extra health, and then the night before, Andrew sent me a message like, "Hey, can we make that 3 instead of 2?" It's like, I don't know, that might be a little too powerful, but hey,
yep,
you're the boss.
Yeah, it was because
I remember,
we had. Oh, go ahead.
Here, 1992 said, "Quick, there's a fire sale going on the title, the Slayer title. So get it now before they fix the Intercessor."
Yep.
Before it gets nerfed.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna hit it with the nerf bat. We talked earlier in this podcast how
the first nerf is that we're not going to fix the bug of Prayer for Justice not damaging shrouded people.
Yeah.
Because the Intercessor is an angel and he is not adjacent to that shadow demon.
Yep.
Shrouded demon.
Yeah.
Yes, Axis and Allies. Daniel, that's one of my favorite games from back in the day, and I found a used copy of the version from the 1980s that I loved so much.
Yep.
And I have it displayed prominently somewhere on my
That's
shelf
awesome.
Here.
So
one of my favorite games.
We have a question. Somebody asked, Doxalogos asked, "I'm a backer. When do I choose the t-shirt size?" So we are going to use a pledge management service called Hive Interactive. So Hive Pledge Manager is where you will be able to choose your t-shirt size. We have to build out our campaign now that we will have access to our Kickstarter data. We're going to be able to give you the so when that pledge manager opens, you're going to be able to select your style for t-shirts as well as your size. We're going to nail down the final styles before we open the pledge manager. And you should look out for an update probably next week that will talk about that and give everyone the final polls for the final sweatshirt, the final, if we might actually be decided on that already, but the final sweatshirt, the final t-shirts, and that sort of thing. So when we decide on those, we'll implement them in the pledge manager, and that's where you'll be able to select your styles and sizes. So we have a couple of questions. Let's see, related to the delivery. So we estimated on Kickstarter a December 2025 delivery, and I put the caveat before Christmas. We currently have 7 months of development time plotted into the calendar. So like from now until May, we'll be able to develop. Then from the month of May, June, and July, then we'll be able to manufacture. And then from the months July, August, we'll be able to freight product. And from the months of September to October, we will actually be able to deliver. This includes several months of wiggle room, which brings us to December. So when things go wrong, if things go wrong, we will still, our goal is to still be able to deliver before Christmas, and but I'd like to actually deliver in October. So my ideal circumstance or situation would be to deliver in October. And to that end, if you didn't hear about this, Chaz is coming on board as a full-time staff member, or well, technically a contractor for now until we get payroll figured out and whatnot. But he's coming on full-time to assist with scenario content. Adam and Chaz are going to work together on scenario content along with me, and then maybe even Dan Maynard as well. But that's going to give us the ability to develop 26 scenarios. We really need to.
26.
What do we have? Like, we have 10 scenarios right now, or 8?
We have 8 with the one that should be coming. It's a Kickstarter related one.
In addition to our regular quarterly releases.
Yes.
Right.
We're doing this.
Yes.
So
yeah. So, and as part of our goal of releasing content every quarter, we do release a new scenario every quarter for free for people to just download and play. Using the base game, we have 5,000 base games that we've sold, and we want to give continue to support our community, and so we'll continue to send those. We will probably be remastering some of our scenarios. Are really hard. If you've played our scenarios, they're really hard. Like, they feel really, really fun to me and Chaz and Adam. And it's like, wow, these felt really rewarding for beating them. And then like the new players are like, how do you guys survive? And so it didn't help that Cruel Hearthers was probably one of the hardest scenarios we've ever designed, and also the first scenario we ever put out. So
we set the bar really high.
Yeah, so we're going to be putting together multiple scenarios. We'll be putting together some scenarios that are longer, like the Epic Anomaly scenario. It's the Seraphic Spelunking scenario that we put together. It was like our quarter one of this year. Was fun, but that one was like a big epic, 2-hour scenario, and then we have others that will be like an hour maybe, and so we definitely want to give people variety in difficulty. We'll make every scenario, we're going to give a challenge to the scenario. So like if you want to play on hard mode, we're going to have a special way to do that on each scenario, and which should be a lot of fun. But each of the scenarios we've created so far, I'm currently planning to remaster each one of them and deliver them as a physical in the physical book. So one of the things that's important to us is that some of the scenarios will only require base game components, and then others will require the expansion too. One of the scenarios that will only require the base game components is the raid, and it will be enhanced with expansion stuff, but we might actually give players the ability to run with just the base game, or the base game and expansion. So I don't know. Well, we have decisions to make, but I guess we'll see. So let's see. A question first. First timer to the board games. Do I need the original to use Board Game Arena? Actually, Board Game Arena is free for everyone. So right now we only have the original Angels on Board Game Arena. We're going to be adding the expansion Angels eventually, but we need to get the rest of the original content in there. So Board Game Arena is free. If you want to play, so after our Kickstarter campaign concludes, the high level difficulties, so after this weekend, are going to go back to being paid. So you have to be a Board Game Arena premium subscriber to to play those, but you can still play up to heroic for free, and you can play some, so typically when people play Board Game Arena, they want to try the game, and we'll give them we'll say the more simple angels to play will be free, but angels like Miko or Taolu or Gabriel probably will be the full.
There's the demo content,
yes,
which is just 2 bosses, the 2 easier or first bosses of the campaign, and just 5 angels to choose from.
Yeah, yep.
And then if you want to play the paid stuff too, you can do that while being free. Just get somebody who's a premium member to host the game and play with other people instead of rolling solo.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
So use the Discord's Find a Game Here feature.
Yep. That's that Find a Game Here channel is really good. So we have questions from Carlos Soares and Rafael Ortiz. I'd love to get back to your question. Let's see. Carlos says, when do I get to inform my shipping address? That will happen in our pledge manager, which will open probably in November or maybe very late October. We just so you guys know, we always publish an update on the last day of every month. The only time we didn't do that is, I want to say September, because we were live, and it's not, well, actually we probably did. We actually probably did publish on Monday the 30th. So, so there, but, so you won't need to put your shipping information in until the pledge manager. So let's see. Rafael Ortiz asked, he asked earlier, but okay, as someone who followed the game a little before the first Kickstarter and then back the deluxe version, he's curious to hear what lessons we learned from the first campaign and how did we apply it here. So I'm going to guess you're probably asking about like running a Kickstarter campaign versus actually creating the board game. Do you guys think that's the essence of the question? Feel free to clarify, Raphael, if you had.
It sounds like they're talking about the Kickstarter campaign and not the board game campaign.
Yeah.
So
that's my guess
on both, though.
Sure. Yeah. So the first thing related to the Kickstarter campaign and running a good one, I knew there were lots of things I didn't know and that I would have to find out in the first campaign. And I had people that were experienced in logistics and experienced in a lot of different areas that I had to lean on, and I learned to trust. That was something that really, really helped. I know so much more about the process, which will help me moving forward, which is why I know the minis need to be wrapped up within like a month so that I can keep on our timeline, because that takes like 6 months of back and forth and making sure everything is right to get those minis perfect. And we don't want that to impact the manufacturing timeline. So we only have a couple of months to get those done, right? So those things like that are what I call the critical path. I know the critical path is the minis need to get done right away, and the game development and the scenarios are the next thing in the campaign, and we need to make sure that those are really tightened up. And by the way, we are going to put out a call for playtesters that so we use Tabletop Simulator, a program called Tabletop Simulator. We can also do print and play for those that have a physical first edition copy of Deliverance and are willing to play the game. But I learned
something we could do last time because the game wasn't made.
Yeah, that's true. So I learned the value of good playtesting. Value of playtesters' feedback is so important. And we're definitely going to lean into you guys, give you the ability to play through some of our scenarios and whatnot to, just to make sure the game is tight, and tightened up.
And I'll add playtesters of all experience levels.
Yes.
Not just veterans.
Don't feel like you're too noob for it or something.
I cannot overstate the value of having somebody that has fresh experience and fresh eyes on something that you're working on.
Yeah.
Because like Andrew touched on earlier, you have 3 to 4 developers working on this all the time, and we're like, oh yeah, this is easy, we got this. We don't realize sometimes how experienced. I'm not trying to toot our own horn here, but we don't realize how experienced we actually are. and to get people who are like, I've never touched a board game before, look at it and go, this makes no sense to me. Why do I have to do it that way? There's a lot of like residual information that you just get as somebody who plays a lot of board games. And it's so like, that's a great point, Nate. Honestly, that's we welcome everybody who is interested to come and play test.
Yeah. And by the way, Sigel Galati, the name from the man from Italy, I really, or it could be, I don't know. Really appreciate you for staying around, man. That's it's got to be like 3 a.m. or something over there right now. 4 a.m, 5 a.m. His son's about to come up and he still has to go to sleep. Appreciate you so much for sticking around.
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah. So one, let's see, a major thing that I learned from running a Kickstarter campaign was, so on our first campaign, I decided on the second day of our live campaign that I would go up to the Babylon Bee studios and do the podcast and whatnot. I had to drive like 2.5 hours and I was there pretty much the whole day, came back, took 2.5 hours on the way back or longer because of traffic. And, I had like 900 comments that I had to answer. And between day 1 and 2, it completely overwhelmed me. There was no way that I could have, addressed those things. And Christy, actually, she was like, I just have this mental picture of like, I was on we have an upstairs that overlooks like at the time at our other house, we had stairs that overlooked like our living room. And Christy was on this couch with her cell phone, just tapping away like responses to comments like all day. And
yelling up.
She would ask me questions. Yeah. It's like, hey, what's this pledge level cost? Or what's this thing mean? And then Ryan Williams was also another person that they tag teamed and helped answer all those questions. And it really put me behind. I had tons of messages. I had tons of people asking me things. And, oh man, it was so much. And I actually, planned on addressing questions. We had Adam and Chaz in chat, and actually Sean really helped, answer questions too. And it felt really good. I just said, hey guys, try to make sure everybody gets an answer, everybody gets a response. Even if someone's saying I backed, and it's like different versions of thank you, give everybody, just let everybody know that they were heard, and that was just so cool. It gave me the ability to do the other things that were really important, like writing updates and other things like that, and updating stretch goals and all. So that was huge. And then the next thing that's probably, I'll conclude the Kickstarter campaign with this one, which is there were more lessons I learned as far as marketing and whatnot, but the major switch that happened to me in the first Kickstarter campaign was right after the campaign, it started feeling like work. I was like, oh man, like I was doing this for fun and passion all the way up until I made $300,000. Now I actually have work to do. It's like all the stuff I did up until that point didn't feel like work, and now it did. It was a weird thing, and it took me a little while. Christy, you were so we finished in July 8th, and then I remember you and I had this breakfast. We ate like some of the best food ever at this place called Mama Cat's in Southern California in a town called San Marcos.
I'm so tired.
It's the best breakfast ever. This like French toast they have. We were like zombies. My aunt took all our kids and watched them while we went out. My wife was like 9 months pregnant at the time. Right after the Kickstarter campaign, went out like zombies, ate our food, didn't even say a word to each other, didn't look at each otother. Just like listening to other people. We were so gassed out.
I seriously thought
Yeah.
we were gonna fall asleep in the booth.
Yeah, and yeah, it was gnarly. And I feel I have so much more energy right now because of all of the helping hands. But the main thing that is different from what I shared earlier, where it feels like work. Now I'm ready to work. Like I know what it feels like. I know we've got our timelines. We have the team. It's not just me by myself now, and I'm ready to labor. Like we've got the team to do it. And I think that's a major thing that a lot of people don't really factor in when you're backing someone's Kickstarter campaign. After the campaign's over, they now have to work. And most of the time people, they stop caring because there are other things to do. They have lives they have to live, and they're not going to see your stuff for a long time. So, but you are there working. And a lot of the time we saw what happened with Mythic Games, where Mythic Games is now dissolved because they launched another Kickstarter before they actually fulfilled one, and then they started launching multiple Kickstarters before they fulfilled them, and then they didn't make enough money on the Kickstarters that they launched, and then they couldn't fulfill their past commitments. And part of that is that they did not have a fast enough development cycle where they could actually finish content. Because if they finish content and they get the product out there, they can actually sell the product to people in addition to running Kickstarters, and then you're fine. But so they kind of probably made millions of dollars on one campaign and then decided, well, we can take a break, which you can't take a break, and so we're ready to hustle. So game development wise, we're so, Adam, you had a thought or no?
Oh, I was just going to say, as far as the campaign goes, I thought you were transitioning over to talking about the story. Campaign.
Yeah. You wanna.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, one of the things that's different this time is the professional writers involved, and remastering the old campaign.
Yeah.
So that's.
I learned that it's very important. So it wasn't just that. So it was my editor, Ian, and myself were the ones that wrote the original story. And I think that the main problem wasn't just the quality of our skill, or it wasn't our skill level at writing. It wasn't just that, rather. I do think that was a factor, our inexperience there. But it was also that we minimized the amount of space that we had to write. That we didn't give ourselves as much space to write, and so we couldn't flesh out the story as much as our fans wanted, and so that's one thing that we're correcting. We're actually coming back to correct that. So let's see. Game development wise, I can whip a demon together so quick and make them interesting. It's like night and day. The level of like how structured the game is now. Like we can make interesting content so quickly because the system is developed. It was I don't use this word lightly. It was hell to develop the Deliverance system. We went through a lot of failure, like emotional damage failure, we seriously went through a lot of that. We sustained much emotional damage. Let's see. Doxalogo said, I hope it stays very Christian focused with new team members. I consider it a very important piece of who I hire for Deliverance, that they have faith that influences their design. I mean, everybody has these subconscious things. For example, like our artist, I needed that artist to be a Christian. And because I felt like if we used a non-Christian person, they would unintentionally put something in the game that would be, bad, or that their subconscious would just not have those same, safeguards. And so I kind of feel the same with all my other teams. So everyone who works on Deliverance is a Christian. Generally speaking. So they're, Dan Maynard is he actually started out as a Protestant and transitioned into a Catholic during the development of Deliverance, and Chaz and Adam and Nate, Kogagorog, all Christians. So let's see, Peretti update. So yeah, I'll tell you what, I would love to do a This Present Darkness or Piercing the Darkness, or both, version or a board game. I think that I could do it. We're actually listening right now on audiobook to This Present Darkness. We're almost through it, but it's I see
that one with my Audible credit this month.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I definitely see I see the differences and I see the similarities to Deliverance, and I think that we could work in that world for sure. So I think that Frank Peretti has some decision-making power, but the majority of the decision-making power is in the company Harper. I want to say it's HarperCollins. I can't remember what company owns Deliverance, or owns This Present Darkness, but Yeah, they definitely are going to want a slice of that pie. So, let's see. Oh, by the way,
Or is there licensing to just make a Deliverance scenario based on this present darkness and the prince that attacks that town?
Right. We could Rayfar, the Prince of Babylon.
I'll name the scenario "This Current Shadow."
Yes, this current shadow. That current shadow.
Friend.
It's like when my dad would make fun of Pocahontas. He would call her "Stick a Scare You." Like when I was a kid, it's like such a dad thing to do. Okay, let's see. You've talked already about a third Deliverance game, Eyeball Monster Angel, in that one maybe. We are thus far not delving into the monstrous angels. We are not closing the book on that though. We do have ideas for a four-faced angel. We have ideas for like the six-winged cherubim and things. So that's
I'll add that I am an advocate for the more,
like the Tyrael,
freaky looking at angels, the more biblically accurate, so to speak, angels. So I've got your back. I'm there for you as an advocate. I'll do what I can to try to get that to happen.
Yep. One of the problems.
You also don't want to turn Deliverance into a cosmic horror.
Right. Yeah, because the real angels, like people fall down and worship them out of fright. So we don't want to get there. But also, one of the things
there may be a place for it. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So we definitely, like I said, we definitely are not closing the book on it.
I might sneak it in like the text of a scenario. It's like they appear and like, oh, sorry, wrong form.
Yes, I love that. I love it. It's good. So let's see. Doxologos asks, Andrew and team, Catholicism and Orthodoxy has a sea of history to gamer from as a source of inspiration. Is the team drawing from their rich history to continue the story? Yes, definitely. So actually, we are very interested in historical events. For example, like Raudbjörn, the Viking angel, we used some historical events that actually had great significance at the time in the lore there, and I think that the angels being characters that are beings that help humans throughout history, they would have involvement in history, right? So that's definitely something that I think matters a lot to just we our lore base is a historical book, right? We've got the Bible, which explains lots of history, and so the rich tradition of Catholicism and of the Greek Orthodox Church, lots of the Anglican Church and the Lutheran Church and everything like that are very fun. So
even Judaism to an extent.
Yeah,
like
right.
We dig into a lot of stuff. Nothing is really just, oh, this might be a cool idea. Like we research everything really thoroughly.
Yeah.
To add to that point, you can literally go to almost every facet of Deliverance. This is one of those things you don't really realize unless you're a part of the design team, where you're like a super lore head like I am. Every single facet of the game has its root in something that is meaningful, whether it's down to like the tattoos on Michael, or the names of a demon, or names of a character. Like it's all has its purpose and its anchor in something that you could look to and be like, oh, this is something that's real, or interesting, or connected to our the religion in some way. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. I learned one of my lessons as a Christian, to kind of go back to Raphael's question. One of my lessons I learned as a Christian game designer is that I decided this is my rule. I'm not allowed to do anything because it's cool, because well-meaning and discerning Christians will look and say, this is a problem. Like one of the hidden bits that I review every so often is like the blessed as a boon. I was asked by my best buddy, who actually I modeled after Uriel. I modeled after him. So my buddy Brighton, my best buddy that's down in he's awesome. his beard is way more mighty than Uriel's beard, but he asked me a great question. He was like, can the demons get blessed? Can the demons gain blessed? He asked me, can the angels gain cursed? And I said, yes. And he was like, okay, and we kind of reasoned through why they could gain cursed. And then he asked me, can the demons gain blessed? And I was like, well, I guess in theory they can, because it's just a status effect that if we have a demon that like steals a status effect or whatever from you and it's blessed, then I guess they're blessed. But I realized actually, like, theologically, them just gaining blessed is not a good thing. And so there's actually no effect in the game that allows a demon to gain the ability or gain the boon of blessed, because I just feel like it's theologically a little bit nebulous, and I would get called out by well-meaning Christians like, hey, there's a little bit of stuff that's wrong in the game. And so, also the way that we use saints in the game, we treat, so I'm not Catholic, I'm a Protestant, but I go very far to respect others' beliefs, when it doesn't hinge on something that's like essential doctrine, like who is Jesus Christ, or how do you earn salvation, or how do you obtain salvation rather. Those certain things are very, very important, where our entire faith hinges on those answers. But there are other things, like, for example, the definition of a saint. So I asked a buddy of mine who was Catholic before Dan actually became Catholic. I asked a buddy of mine, hey, what is the Catholic definition of a saint? And he was like, oh, somebody who is recorded to have done 3 miracles, and it's like 100 years of time, and people have to debate and discuss it. And it's like, well, no, like what is the real definition of a saint, though? Like, not how does the Catholic Church determine if someone is one? Tell me what does that mean? Like, okay, they're a saint. What does it mean, though? And it's like, oh, we just believe that person's in heaven. It's like, okay, so you believe that a saint is somebody who is saved. And it's like, yes, but is Michael a saint? It's like, yes. It's like, why is he a saint? Oh, because he's in heaven. It's like, well, that makes sense now. So Michael is Saint Michael because he's in heaven. So you have Saint Gabriel, Saint Michael, Saint Jude, Saint Paul. All of these saints are saints because they're in heaven. But what about, people, are they saints because they're in heaven? It's like, no, they're saints because they're saved. And that's why they go to heaven. It's like, okay, so now we're getting to the root of the thing. Is like, can people on earth that are alive be saints? And they're like, yeah, but there's so much technical stuff you have to figure out. It's like, well, would the angels from heaven, would Michael the archangel be able to look and be like, oh, Andrew, yeah, he's a saint, I see that glow around him or whatever. And they were like, yeah, well, heavenly beings would be able to see that. I was like, okay, then we can have saints in the game, and the bottom line is that the saints have a little s instead of a big S, like a capital saint. That is like like Saint Michael, Saint Jude. Those saints are like, they have a title. A saint is a title, whereas a saint with a lowercase s is a person who is a Christian, a saved person. So
one of my favorite stories on that, like, respecting other faiths and cultures, as long as it doesn't like hinge on the major doctrines, is the story of the Michael, the priest. Mm-hmm. If you want to share that and like his story of what happened with him.
Yeah. So you're talking about so Father Michael is actually, so when we went to an Anglican church,
and the nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see, what in particular are you getting at? Maybe you can share, and then I can fill in gaps.
So I remember, just as a part of the development, originally one of the characters was the son of Father Michael. Mm-hmm. And then somebody was like, well, that's not really how that would work. And you're like, okay, well,
yes,
to be his nephew.
Yep.
Like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big change, but it's something that's worth doing to respect another person's faith.
Yes.
I was just like, that's awesome.
Yeah. So actually there are two things. So one bit of criticism we received from only one person, but if one person gives me this bit of feedback, then I think there are others out there that might feel the same way. You have Protestants that are like, hey, you called the priest Father Michael, and Michael the Archangel would not call him Father. he would call him something else. I was like, oh, you're right. You know, I don't even think angels would call the steward of a church by a priest. I think they would call him the shepherd. And so actually in our rewrite, we're changing his name, his title from Father Michael to the shepherd. And that is something that some people feel like calling you only call God your father, right? And your actual dad your father, right? So that was a way that I was able to kind of we're able to insert a revision into the writing without actually we can remove the offense to the Protestant while not causing offense to the Catholic. Which is a fine line that we're walking, right? It's like we're threading the needle, but if we can do it, we should. And like you said, yeah. So now I know exactly what you're talking about. So we had the priest as a Catholic. A priest is.
I'm gonna go put the kids to bed.
Okay.
It's nice meeting y'all.
Wonderful. So we're gonna wind down here pretty soon. So but yeah. So the priest is Catholics believe that priests should not have my 5-year-old is like sad outside. They believe that the priest should not have children, should not have a wife.
Yeah, same vibe.
Now, I've got questions about that too, because I've heard from a Catholic that priests it's like they believe in the celibacy, but if they are married and have children before they receive holy orders and the call of God, then they can have children and a spouse.
They're saying no audio again, right? When you said priest should not have a wife. It's that fallen prince over tech. I'm telling you,
the Lord of the Air.
There's sound waves in the air.
Holy cow! All right, can you guys hear me? Okay. Oh yeah, I see the mic is coming through again. So, yeah. So then all the awesome stuff I was saying is just gone, right?
Yeah, you were saying that changing him from what he was to nephew.
Yes. So yeah, so we changed the priest having a son to having a nephew, and then we removed the offense of the priest having a son, which is supposed to be celibate, and then to a nephew, which functionally for the story will do the exact same thing. You can be a beloved nephew or a son and still fulfill the same role. So sorry guys about the loss of sound. It's every once in a while, yeah, Lord of the Air, absolutely. So every time I adjust this, which I won't adjust anymore, it's done. So now the question. Oh, so that's incorrect about the priest and the sons. And Nate said that if they are married and have children before holy orders, that's okay. So anyway, some of this for us is a moving needle. We try to understand the best we can, and that's I think the important thing. And Dan, who's Dan and Chip actually. Chip is our graphic designer. Dan is our
consultants.
They're both Catholic.
They're Catholic consultants.
They help straighten us out.
Help us through this.
Yeah. So.
And we have a few very vocal members in our Discord that also are very passionate about that as well. That are willing to give us feedback.
Yeah, and actually that's something that, just so that you guys know, it's very important to us that you make your voices heard when you see something that's wrong or, other things like that. So, yeah, we've got one-on-one coaching whose favorite character will certainly be Juan, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Their namesake.
We would think that, yeah.
So, but yeah.
I do just want to plug at this time, too, while we're talking about it in the whole community and giving feedback. if you guys aren't already, join our Discord. Like it's a hub of people connecting and hanging out, sharing stories, sharing praise reports, prayer requests, finding
The prayer
games to
request
play
is a
each
big
other.
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Does
that
someone have
is
the link that you can post
Yeah,
in
I'll
the
put it in.
chat
yes. And that section
or
is
the video description?
Yep.
it's a really great place to just interact and be a part of the community. The comment section in Kickstarter is good. Facebook better. Discord is awesome. I'm not biased because I set it up or anything, but it's a really great place to
We're all
connect
in
with
there
everyone.
talking to everybody all the
All the
time
time,
and
yes.
responding to things.
It's not
Yeah.
one of those things like I've been I've been a part, I'm sure you guys have too, of communities where they're like so far above the fans they never interact. Like
Yep.
Adam and I and Andrew are always chatting and hanging out in there. So
Yep.
And this conversation too, of just how things come about for Deliverance and making sure that they're theologically accurate. And there's plenty of the stuff of God that we're never going to understand for any of you non-Christians, but it's our best attempt at understanding through His revealed Word and the reason, rational deductions that can be made from that as well. But C.S. Lewis very importantly said that if you try to create something original, you'll make something just like everybody else. But if you try to tell the truth, you will be original without trying. And Deliverance very much seems like that, with trying to tell the truth as we see it. Just put this lens of this is how we'll interpret some of the spiritual stuff, and then there's some things that you just cannot do thematically, like a lot of people I've seen wanting more interaction with the saints. Like we'll have something on the saints and they can be used and flipped back to oppressed, but it's like no, heaven will never oppress saints for their own ends.
Yeah.
And so thematically that just doesn't work, but there's plenty of other cool stuff you can do with saints.
Yeah. Sardius every once in a while can flip a saint over and over again with his movement. It's like you get it lined up all perfectly. It's like you're being really mean to that saint, So, but yeah, it's
from a game mechanics and like min maxing situation. Sometimes those saints, you get that XP and it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, where I'm getting comments about how nobody expects doctrinal accuracy from a game, and it is the first thing I say is it is a fantasy game. Like Michael the Archangel probably doesn't have sick tattoos. He might, but he probably doesn't look like a power lifter, and who knows if he even uses a double-edged sword, but we do try hard. We're very much on the side of advocating for unity among believers, and then also unity at the table. So oftentimes, you'll be playing the game with people who are not Christian, or maybe you're watching this and you're not Christian. It's important that when we sit down at a table with any game, that we are better friends than when we first sat down, right? Like that's part of the intimacy of playing a board game, is that you can bust a board game out and the only reason you're mad at each other is because you decided to play Axis and Allies or Risk or Monopoly, but you could play, and like I had Australia and you said you had my back, but you just betrayed me or whatever, that time that Mike did that to me when I was 21 years old on that church retreat. I still remember it. He's cool though, but I still
you ruin me getting longest road.
Yeah.
Co-op games are so important because my wife, she says her favorite game is Boggle. We've only played twice. She says I'm too good at it. She doesn't like playing with me. So a co-op game where I can use my brain with her instead of against her is appreciated.
Yep. Yeah. So, and by the way, Sev, the real Michael might actually have tattoos. The reason that I put tattoos on Michael was because in Revelation, Jesus comes back with tattoos as well. He's King of Kings and Lord of Lords on his thigh and on his right side. So he's got like tattoos like this and tattoos on his thigh, which is pretty awesome. So if Jesus has some tattoos, then Michael probably does too. Michael's like, I want a tattoo, and so yeah. But yeah, so it's pretty good. So any final thoughts that you guys have for, that you want to share? Any memorable moment, any thing you wanted to say? Now's the time. What do you got?
Well, definitely just one more shout out just to get in the community on the Discord if you're not a part of it. That's where like all the news breaks. First that and the email. If you're not on the email list, get on the email list. Like that's gonna be your best way to get updates and communicate with us. And I cannot stress enough just how much your guys' feedback shapes the game. The conversations in the Discord and how often we look at them and consider them is not short of every time we discuss. It's we really take it personally and meaningfully to make a game that you guys enjoy just as much as we enjoy. So get in those communities, be a part of them. We would love to see you there and play games with you guys and slay demons by the holy righteous power of God. So,
and thanks for being here in this community.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
The YouTube.
It's pretty awesome. It's something that YouTube is something that I've been using more and more lately. I find that actually one other thing that really probably, I guess this will be my last thing, maybe, but one thing that really stands out to me is how much work goes on behind the scenes that backers or others are not made privy to. Not necessarily because people aren't interested, but it's just that, you can only pull so much information from like an email, right? Yeah. And it's like you probably aren't going to read the whole email, but you'll scan it, or the Kickstarter update, you'll scan it, stop at the important part, and then read that one paragraph, and then go back to scanning, look at the pictures, and you missed like half of the context of what I said. And certainly, you don't get to hear from us live like this. And so I thought YouTube is a really cool option to kind of put myself out there and help people just hear what's going on. I'm trying to not be so long-winded on YouTube because, I think 10 minutes is about how long people can stand to watch a video for, of me talking. And so anyway, it's just something I'd like to do a little bit more just to give you guys updates and things like that. So moving forward, YouTube is definitely going to be a place where sometimes you'll get information first.
Adam and I still did have that idea to do that, YouTube/podcast thing. So maybe we can talk about that too.
Yeah.
And another thing, that's a carrot to dangle in front of the community.
Yep.
I've had the idea of streaming on Twitch because I've done a little bit of that just to, growing up, we'd always play games with family, like video games and whatnot. And so now that I'm living like 600 miles away from my sister, just playing some video games with her again. But I was thinking of sharing whenever there's some good content creation going on the BGA part and whatnot, just peeling back that curtain a little bit and maybe doing some plays with the community as well.
Yeah.
If you guys drop into stream.
That'd be awesome. I mean,
yeah,
I'd love to do that.
That'd be way cool.
One final thing I'll add, if it's my turn, is we have a lot of interesting things planned for the future that are not necessarily Council of the Fallen related, but other fun things to do with Deliverance as an IP.
Yep.
So stick around. Like, we're not done with all this stuff yet. We have a lot of really interesting ideas, and even some things that I don't think have even really been done before,
right?
Personally, but I don't know what I'm allowed to say. So so I'll leave all that to Andrew. But
yeah,
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I'll say that currently my brain is stuck on. So I'm an ideas guy. So when I talk right now, just like discount every single thing I say. But I'm currently fascinated with the idea of putting an epic 1 to 2 player experience inside of a mint tin. and I think I can do it with Deliverance. It's a crazy idea, but just to have a game that you can whip out like super fast and play like solo or whatever, and then put back into your pocket, that's very fascinating to me. I actually personally think that games that are big, epic, and sprawling like Deliverance are very you see a lot more of them now. Like I backed all in Chip Theory Games Betrayal of the Second Era Elder Scrolls game, and it's like there are only so many of those I can get. Like I've got Isofarian Guard, I've got Betrayal of the Second Era, I've got several more on my shelf. I've got Betrayal coming, and it's like, man, Journeys in Middle Earth, like how many of those can I actually get into and experience all the content, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm actually thinking, I think really small games are like really few and far between, especially really good solo games that are small. Like you got Final Girl, you've got Unbroken, which are pretty good. But
the cat, no, what's the cucumber one? It's like cat something cucumber.
Oh yeah. I can't remember, but I'm thinking of Palm Island now. Some small box games that are, but yeah. So anyway,
Love
that's
Letter's a good one too.
I'm really fascinated with that concept. I have been working on the ideas for an RTS. So I used to be a very good Warcraft 3 player and a decent StarCraft player, StarCraft 2, and and very good at League of Legends and Dota. I played Dota when it was called Defense of the Ancients. And
before the acronym existed.
Yeah, and
back when it was still a Warcraft 3 mod.
Yep, yeah, back when it was like, it was not even Dota yet. It was Defense of the Ancients 1.1 or something. But yeah, so I think that that's definitely something that I'm very, very interested in doing. I think that it would be really cool. We had a question about a war game mode where angels fight each other in Deliverance. I feel that is generally, it's very possible to use the system that we developed to have angels fight each other. But I think that to make it truly dynamic, you have to, where each game is different, and you either have to throw a bunch of demons on the board so that you're fighting demons at the same time. But even that, it's just the way the system works. It's not super. It just doesn't live up to the standards that I would like. Even though the character customization is incredible and all of that, I do think that there is a way to leverage this character customization in a slightly different form that maybe is a little bit more along the RTS route. And that's something that I'm really kind of looking forward to exploring as well, without kind of giving too much away. And then, Adam, were you thinking about the Abyss?
I was, but I wasn't sure if I should say anything.
Yeah, well, so that's another idea that we have is, and I don't mind sharing this, is like, because they're all just ideas at the moment. We haven't yet just really hustled on the development of these things, but an endgame only content expansion that would require you to have completed the campaign in order to play it. And so I think that you're
playing your campaign finished angel, like you've
and
reached
that's like
max level. It's the end game content now.
Yeah, so
raid boss.
Yeah, so I don't want to get too much into that one, but it is something that I would like to do eventually. I think that we need to get a lot more Deliverance games out there first before we can really make, one thing this expansion campaign showed me is that there's a huge desire for Deliverance, but to ask people to spend $150 for both games, it's a tall ask, and I'd rather have a smaller ask at first, and then lead them on down the line. And I do think that is probably a very special Kickstarter exclusive, like not going to retail type thing that we'll do one day. But our next project is, people call the, people often ask for a Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion style product that is a little bit less, epic, but a little more streamlined, and we have a strong idea for exactly how we're going to do that. So that's what I'd like to do. We'll see. It's a very limited number of people on this, on this chat. So, I'm sure that, a whisper in the dark will be shouted from the rooftops eventually, But yeah, so hopefully that gives you guys some teasers. Let's see. Question: will we have a new layout for demons for 5-player base game? Yes. Well, the campaign is going to have 5 players in it, and the skirmish mode is going to have a 5-player option as well. So you guys will be able to play all content at 5 players, all the way from 1 to 5 players, every single thing that we offer. So anyway, any final thoughts, Nate?
I think that's all.
All right. All the coffee ran out.
It's getting cold out here. I'm happy to go inside.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. I mean, what an incredible experience this was to to roll out. I can't believe that I'm looking at, well, I'm not looking at anything right now because this stupid screen. $481,338. That is more than I thought. I thought I put a $480,000 stretch goal out there thinking my mom's going to have to pledge something to get us here. Like, there is no way, and you guys came through. Now my OCD brain is going to do things with these numbers until the next campaign runs. And, and it's just a really, really incredible thing to have you guys supporting like you did. You guys backed for the folded space insert, which, we try to answer the community's desire, with things, but you guys answered the call. You guys backed sweatshirts, you guys backed t-shirts. You guys jumped in for add-ons. I mean, the $148 average pledge for this campaign, the last campaign that we ran was $115 average pledge. And that is just a testament to how you guys, really, really came out to support. So thank you. We really appreciate you. And, stick around, jump into our communities and get ready for updates and things like that. Really look forward to your participation in those things. And, I guess until next time,
it's been a very positive Kickstarter experience for me.
Yeah,
definitely.
Very positive.
Yep. The only times I've been trolled have been in Facebook ads or by people on Facebook that have no tie to this thing, and it just kind of gets served up to them, and they have no idea. Sometimes I get trolled by people. I'm trying so hard not to. People will say, they always say 2 things. They always say like, "Oh, this is a Christian fantasy game. Isn't that redundant?" Or whatever. They'll just take the kind of almost like an angry, trollish atheist route if they wanted to troll me. Or they'll say, "Why do I hear banjos?" or "squeal like a pig," or whatever. And I always want to respond to that one. I always want to respond like, "I found the boomer," but I'm not allowed to be mean to people. I'm so good at trolling people because I was a professional gamer. Like, I was a super hardcore video gamer, and I'm good at being mean on the internet, which is a skill that I wish I didn't have, but, I have to really, really control that because that's not okay, especially in a position like mine, where I represent, I'm a Christian. I'm calling myself that, and I'm saying I made a Christian thing. It's like, can't be trolling people back.
In real life, ribbing each other, you can tell what the intention behind it is if you're actually being mean or just joking and saying a mean thing. But online, you can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And oftentimes also I find it's like you said, it's really hard to be able to tell if somebody is being silly or if they're actually being mean to you, like venomous. And
maybe they don't know.
Yeah. They might not even know. Right.
What they're doing. So.
Yeah.
I will say though, like somebody, I think it was Raphael, he brought up like the differences between last time and this time. Like last time there was a very small to like no community around those, around us on the Facebook and on the Discord, but you guys like show up in the comment sections to defend Andrew and the game. Like, it is so cool to see this time around, just being like, it's not funny. Like, why are you guys saying that? It's really cool. Like, because we don't have to say it. You guys say it for us.
Yeah, that really does help. It helps very much. And also, what I've learned is that I need to bring levity to those types of situations, even if it's me by myself. I need to be able to say, like a lot of the time when I respond to people, especially in ads, people that are like, really, really offensive that say mean things, I'll respond in a GIF that just totally kind of changes things around. Like they'll start trolling me and I can kind of low key troll people back by just being not mean to them in GIFs, but like silly. So somebody will say something totally off color, like, you guys have seen every once in a while, like oh, are there only white angels that go to heaven in your game, or only white people that are angels in your game? And they obviously haven't seen all of our angels, but they say things like that to be mean, right? There's no way to take that other than like this guy's trying to be mean, trying to troll, and feels like he's taking the high road over me and whatever. But I'm able to just bring levity to that by just saying, like a meme that's like, the little girl looking in her, from the back seat, the little girl with her little teeth sticking out, whatever, like that meme. Stuff like that. It makes it easier. But, and at the same time, the main thing, I don't want to be interpreted by the good members of our community that I'm just, being mean and trolling back, right? I don't want to be slinging mud at people that are slinging mud at me. I just, sometimes need to ghost out of there and just not be there, or, just like handle it with a little bit of grace and levity. And it's like my way of responding. If somebody posts a banjo meme, some like the hillbilly playing a banjo, I post the cat meme or the cat gif of like the cat playing the banjo. It's like, you've got to be able to laugh at yourself as well. Like, we named this Deliverance on purpose with full knowledge of, actually, Adam, you were
full
like,
knowledge,
just want to let you know, like, just want to make sure you understand. Like, we had full knowledge that Deliverance was a 1969 movie about a very ill-fated river rafting trip up, in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, and things
you
did
need
not
to get
go
a banjo
well.
bluegrass version of Holy, Holy, Holy.
Yeah.
That all the angels are singing.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to make sure that Andrew knew exactly what he was getting into with the name of this game before I would be willing to work on it.
Yep.
So, like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect name for the game because of what it is. Like, actually, I think that movie was probably needs to be renamed.
It's based on a novel,
Yeah.
and the novel has a very poorly chosen title.
Yep.
I don't quite understand that, but it's
Well, the game is
defined
definitely
the
better
culture.
than the book.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm definitely I don't mind
That's
trying to
true.
take back that name, from
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
we're gonna take it back,
Yeah.
So we thought about demons with a banjo, or we thought about an angel with a lute, I really thought we were gonna do like the Zira, or started out as a bard type angel with like a musician with and I was thinking, what kind of banjo like instrument should she have, and it's just been something I've been thinking about a long time. It never works out that way, but
We always end up turning that when we start working on that angel,
yeah.
it morphs into a completely new concept.
Yeah.
And then we can't use this one for that. So yes.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Adam, Chaz, and Nate for staying on for so long. Nate, it sounds like you're freezing, and also you are running on empty, no coffee. So we'll let you get inside. Thank you guys watching this on YouTube. Really appreciate you so much. I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream now, and we'll just, take a nap.
Yeah.
All right.